ESPN College Football brought to you by McDonald's. A warm and muggy late summer evening in Houston, Texas, BBVA Stadium for the annual continuation of the Labor Day Football Classic, Prairie View A&M against the Tigers of Texas Southern. Both teams arriving a little bit earlier today. And Forrest Connolly, the former national championship winning offensive lineman, joining me, Eric Clements here, welcoming you to our contest here in Houston this evening. Now, Forrest, it is a tale of the known against the unknown. Let's start with the unknown. Texas Southern, new coach, new quarterback as well, and that quarterback has some travels throughout his college football career, DeAndre Johnson.
Well, DeAndre Johnson started out at Florida State. We know things didn't go well there. Then he transferred to East Mississippi. We saw him on Last Chance U. He transferred then to FAU. Now the redemption story brings him here to Texas Southern. What makes him special is his ability to get outside the pocket. He was a five-star quarterback coming out. He runs a sub 4.40, so he can get out and run. He is the true definition of a dual-threat quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see how Prairie View tries to slow him down.
All right, so what we do know, Prairie View A&M really lit it up on offense last season, leading the conference in just about every offensive category. It all starts with their quarterback, Jalen Morton.
And what's interesting about this, when we talked to Coach Dooley, he was non-committal. Jalen Morton is the guy. We know that. Maybe that was just coach speak, trying to throw us off a little bit. But Jalen Morton is a big-time quarterback, and this three-headed monster, we talked about that. These are the guys that he depends on.
And there you have it. Coach Eric Dooley, right there pregame, he was quite dapper, but now he's gotten into his purple and gold second year here at the helm. And, of course, an offensive guru. He is a guy who's been successful wherever he has been on the offensive side of the football. Of course, before he came here, he coordinated some pretty talented Grambling teams and quarterbacks, including Devontae Kincaid, among others. And he has brought that offensive mindset right here to Prairie View A&M with him, to the tune of a 5-6 mark last season, 4-3 in the SWAC. And he wants to see what he has this year. I think he's returning 16 of his 22 starters from last year, so he's expecting big things. Tyler Cook is back deep to receive this kickoff, as Texas Southern will be moving on your screen from right to left. And speaking of Texas Southern, there's their new head coach, Clarence McKinney, also an offensive guru, a local guy who has a lot of people in the audience here tonight in the stands, because he's having his 30th high school reunion. He went to high school right across the street from the stadium at Yates. And he has brought a whole new attitude to this team. He says they want to be more violent, faster, quicker, and everything, and that everybody is bought in. We'll see what a difference a year makes under the new head coach, Clarence McKinney. Zach Elder to start us off from his 35. And the kick on the far side coming down to Byron Edwards. And Edwards shakes off some tackles and gets up to the 18-yard line, where Texas Southern's offense will take over. Prairie View actually won the toss and deferred. So they're going to see how their defense stacks up against DeAndre Johnson and the Texas Southern offense to start things off. DeAndre, again, you heard Forrest talk about it. You talked earlier, Forrest, a sub 4.40, so he can hurt you with his legs as well as the arm. On first down, and he gives it to the first man through for decent gain up the middle of about 3. Now get it out to the 20-yard line, make it 2nd and 7. Tyler Cook, as they go with a no huddle, is the halfback. Goes in motion, coming to the near side. And there's a quick swing pass, and Cook brings it in and has some good room, gets out to the 25-yard line, but there is a flag down on the play.
And that's a good job by the offensive line not to jump. The defensive lineman tried to bait them into jumping off sides, and they did not. They held tight. So that's a good job early for this offensive line.
So offside, it looked like number 92, Jason Dumas, was the guy who jumped off. So they're going to keep the result of the play. They're going to keep the result of the play. less than a little more than a yard, maybe short of the first down. And so 3rd down and very short. And now they're going to still talk it over. I guess they're trying to figure out exactly.
Number 92.
Okay.
That penalty being forced 5 yards from the previous spot. 2nd down.
Okay, so they're going to take the penalty now and repeat 2nd down rather than have it 3rd down and short from just over the 25-yard line. So 2nd down and 2 with the penalty enforced now, and DeAndre Johnson working again out of the shotgun with Tyler Cook flanked to his left. And they run the same play. Quick swing pass out to Cook. Has some room. Across the 30. Cook across the 35. And out to the 40-yard line. Nice catch and run that time before Logan Jackson brought him down.
And what's interesting is Prairie View came out and they're running a 3-man front. So they've got 4 linebackers. They're walking linebackers up in the gap. They've got to be able to keep contained on the outside.
Little delayed handoff, and picking his way through is Tyler Cook. Picked up decent yardage on that 1st down run. Drake Cheatham brought him down. He picked up 4, and they're going no huddle again. A quick 2nd and 6 here as they're trying to keep the Panthers defense off balance. Off the play fake. Johnson looking deep down the near side. Has a man, but he caught it out of bounds. He juggled it a little bit, but Thurman Mobley, by the time he corralled it, was well out of bounds. So what do they say, big guy, when you play like that, they remember that one for later?
Absolutely, and Mobley had Cheatham beat. Cheatham never turned around to locate the football. It'll be interesting if Prairie View continues to play man coverage on the outside, because we talked about it earlier. DeAndre Johnson has the arm strength to get the ball vertically down the field. This is unlike many quarterbacks that they will see in conference play.
On 3rd and 6. Johnson, quick hitter, has his man. And bouncing off a tackle is Donnie Corley. And Corley has 1st down yardage. Move the chain. He's down to the Prairie View 45-yard line after the nice catch and run.
And one thing to look for with this fast-paced offense, the offensive line for Texas Southern outweighs Prairie View A&M's defensive line by an average of 45 pounds.
Throwing down the middle on the quick slant. And we have a flag on the play after the fact. Donnie Corley was the guy who caught it, not a quick slant, more like a deep post, but looks like we have some holding, possibly that's going to go against the Prairie View defense, perhaps, or maybe a false start. Let's see.
Personal foul, targeting, number 32 against the defense. Penalty 15 yards from the end of the run. 1st down.
Darius Hawkins on a targeting foul. And we had some possibilities there. I thought we might have had a holding before Johnson got hit there. And they called one of those tacklers who came in for a target, I guess.
Well, he led
Darius
with the crown
Hawkins.
of his helmet.
Yeah, led with the crown.
And that's what they're looking at. He didn't launch into him, but he led with the crown of his helmet. And they're trying to protect players.
And there's some information on the targeting rule as we have a timeout on the field.
You know, old school people would say that's just a regular football hit. But when you look at him hitting with the crown of his helmet, you can jam your neck. You can get a very serious injury, and that's what they're trying to prevent is injury. One of the things I talked about earlier, too, I want to see how fatigue plays a role with the defensive line for Prairie View as they continue to deal with this fast-paced offense.
Now during this timeout on the field, one more look at the leading there with the crown of the helmet, Darius Hawkins.
Now, what'll be interesting is, will they determine that the offensive player, Donnie Corley, put his head down to avoid contact, which in turn made it look as if it was a targeting penalty?
Well, it was definitely a jarring hit, almost looking like helmet to helmet from this angle that we have, but they called the targeting penalty, and I guess things are being reviewed.
And one of the things when you're teaching football and proper tackling is you want to keep your head up. You want to hit with your shoulder pads. You don't want to put your head down. So those are some of the things that they're looking at, and that's why we have targeting now. Not only to protect the player that's getting hit, but to protect the player that's bringing the contact.
Marty Adams is our referee in this one.
After review, the ruling of the field of targeting has not been confirmed. So therefore, it will be first down and 10. The clock will start on the ready.
Well, I think what they did, they looked and they saw that Corley put his head down to take on the impact of the defensive player coming. And you didn't see a player launch. What you saw was Hawkins put his shoulder down. And you see how Corley puts his head down right at the point of contact. So I think it was a good job by the officials.
I was going to ask you, so you like this reversal of the call?
I do, I do. Because it's a football play. It's not malicious. Right. He didn't launch. I think if he would have launched himself, then, yes, he would have been out of this ball game.
Andre Johnson in the shotgun, another first down. And Cook somehow got under a tackle and got inside the 20-yard line. How he was not hit behind the line of scrimmage, I can't figure out, but he picked up 5.
Well, that's why defensive coaches tell you to break down and make the tackle. Treshard Smith, number 20, had an opportunity, but he did not break down and make that tackle.
Johnson. Pocket beginning to break down, and now he's going to keep it. And he'll pick up maybe a yard on that quarterback scramble. And Treshard Smith was the man who brought him down there in the middle of the pack.
And although he only got a yard on that play, that was a smart play by DeAndre Johnson. Prairie View dropped 7 back into coverage. There was nowhere for him to go with the football. He did not try and force it.
No gain on that quarterback keeper. They get out of some trouble as the pocket broke down. Big third down play on the opening drive here. He's going to keep to the near side, and he'll be a few yards short, as one of the guys in there to bring him down was Anthony Parker, the third-team preseason All-SWAC conference. Also in there was Jason Dumas, the big defensive tackle. So it'll be 4th down, and the field goal unit comes on, and it'll be Richard Garcia III, and he'll be attempting this one from 35 yards out. Garcia, a freshman out of Mesquite, Texas. The kick is up, and he's going to be a little bit wide left. No good. So after an impressive march to open the game, Texas Southern coming up a little bit short. Prairie View takes over when we come back.
Timeout.
What would you like the power to do?
We're back in Houston. Jalen Morton leading his Prairie View offense to an empty backfield on 1st and 10, and now motioning behind him is DeWanye Tucker, but we got some movement on the interior.
False start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty. First down.
False start. Danny Garza, the center, 2nd-team preseason All-SWAC. Moved that ball a little bit, perhaps, or did a little flinch. It'll cost him 5, and 1st and 15. There's Morton, who also was amongst the SWAC's leading rushers, 5th in the conference in rushing, as he's under the blitz, going deep, and wide open down the far side was DeWanye Tucker, and he overshot him by a couple yards.
Busted coverage. DeWanye Tucker should be celebrating a touchdown right now, but there was just enough pressure to make Morton have to throw off of his back foot, and he put just a bit too much on that football.
On 2nd down, and there is Tucker, and Tucker gets around the corner and gets away from tackles out to the 34-yard line. A nice pickup, and they'll move the chains as DeWanye Tucker is finally brought down by Julian Marcantel, 2nd leading tackler on that defense. Tucker picked up 14 yards on that play. Quick swing pass. Tucker is met immediately right after the catch, and that time Jacob Anderson came up from the secondary to put him down for a loss.
And that's when Tucker goes back to the huddle and tells Morton, hey, when you see all those guys coming up, fake the throw and go to the other side. Don't throw me the football with all of those defenders coming right at me.
Loss of 5 on that play. And there's some movement there. So a little bit out of sync early on in this first game. Couple of false start penalties in this opening drive for the Panthers of Prairie View A&M. And that's one thing Coach Dooley talked to us about, is keep the discipline, let the emotions come out of it, and let's just play ball. And so far, maybe emotions a little high here in the opener.
Well, that was their point of emphasis. Pay attention to detail. Be on sides. You know the snap count. Have the right substitutions, and don't allow the first game jitters to get to you.
Morton, good protection, steps up, fires deep, and that ball deflected and intercepted. And that on the interception is Marquel Daigle. And Daigle, Johnny on the spot, are in the right place at the right time to get that deflection. He was looking for Jared Scott on a deep post, and Scott got his hands on it before it was knocked to the defender.
And that was a great job by number 12, Josh Murray, to punch that ball out. You see the ball right here. The receiver's trying to squeeze it, and he brings his arm down, which allows the ball to be careened in the air and for Daigle to make a play.
So Texas Southern, excellent field position at the 28-yard line. Here's Johnson. Fires one out to the far side. And he gunned that one. Found his receiver that time before Logan Jackson brought him down, as he found Donnie Corley, who's been a major target early on in this game. And he picked up 7. And then we have a flag down on the play. It might be a freebie, as it looked like Prairie View was offside, and he just throws this one away. Does DeAndre Johnson, but I'm almost positive somebody along the right side of the defensive line moved.
And this is what happens when you run a quick-paced offense to defensive linemen. They're trying to judge the snap count.
Offsides, defense, number 92, 5-yard penalty. Results of play, first down.
And I talked about it earlier. When you look at the weight differential, a 45-pound, 2-inch reach advantage. So they're much bigger than the Prairie View defensive linemen. And when you're rushing through and you've got these big fellas leaning on you, every now and then these guys are going to get tired and try and make a play. But you cannot jump off sides, especially in the red zone. You can't give up free yardage and a free first down.
Okay, so that is a free first down, 1st and 10. Call it the 16-yard line. And picking his way, looking for a hole, is Tyler Cook. And Cook might have gotten a couple as he got down to the 15-yard line. They continue to use a no huddle. Cook picked up 1 on that first down play. Might be another penalty. No flag I see on the field, but geez, it looked like the blitzing defender was well offside. Trishard Smith, I thought they were going to catch there, but the pass to the near side incomplete.
And this is the area of the field where I think Chris Long can make a difference. The tight end, the hybrid position.
Timeout on the field, injury timeout.
Desmond Obie, defensive end, the 6'1", 225-pound junior, is on the field and injured. And looked like he might have cramped up a little bit down there. Hot and humid evening here in Houston, but this time of year it's always hot and humid down here.
And for the fan base that thinks, okay, these guys have been practicing in this heat, in this humidity, they should be okay. You've got adrenaline flowing. The first ball game of the year, a rivalry game, a conference game, a division game. There's a lot at stake right now. Both teams are optimistic about their opportunities to win a SWAC championship because everybody's in it right now. Nobody's out of it. So you've got a lot of adrenaline flowing, so you may see some guys start to cramp up early.
3 receivers split near side left for DeAndre Johnson on a big 3rd down and long. Pocket breaking down. Johnson trying to find some room, and he's still on his feet fighting against tacklers. Got back to the 15-yard line. Trishard Smith, one of many white shirts there to greet him. So it'll be another 4th down. And once again, Richard Garcia III is going to come in. This attempt will be from 33 yards out. He missed earlier from 35. Let's see how the freshman handles this effort here. And that one right down the middle and good. So the 33-yard effort by Richard Garcia, the third, puts Texas Southern ahead 3-0, 8:16 to go. We're back in Houston, Texas. Texas Southern, couple of scoring opportunities. They capitalize on one of them to lead 3-0 here with 8:16 to go in the first quarter. Let's take a look at this Labor Day Classic history between these two clubs. Today marking the 35th Classic. Texas Southern leading it 20-13, but Prairie View has dominated of late, winning 12 of the past 15 contests, including the last 4 in a row, and last year ending the season with that 60-14 trouncing. Of course, the winner receives the Nick Durley Trophy, named after the legendary coaches of both these universities. The kickoff coming down to Dewanye Tucker. Tucker has some room, and he gets out across the 25 to the 29-yard line, where Prairie View takes over in fairly decent shape. 1st and 10. Seeing that first drive end on the deflection and the interception against quarterback Jalen Morton. Quick pass, and Dewanye Tucker escapes one tackle, gets out across the 40 to the 42-yard line. That's first down yardage. Joshua Murray might have saved a lot more than that. If he jukes him, he picks up a lot more than that 13. Another quick one. Tucker, this time met almost immediately after the catch.
And what Texas Southern is doing, they're bringing their linebackers up, blitzing, trying not to give Morton a lot of time, but Morton's hitting Tucker with that quick pass. I want to see one of those linebackers sit down in the zone and not allow Tucker to be wide open.
Morton in some trouble. Got away from it. Now he's going to keep it and pick up good yardage as he's forced out of bounds right at midfield by Julian Marcantel. But boy, talk about escaping some danger there.
Well, you see the strength of Morton. 6'4", 230 pounds. You've got to hit him. You've got to bring him down. You cannot try and arm tackle this young man. He's really strong. You see him break away from the defender, get to the outside. He had enough speed to get positive yardage. That's all you ask if you're a quarterback. If you can't get positive yardage, throw the ball away.
And met right there in the backfield. Joshua Murray coming up from his defensive back position to make the tackle and create a loss of 1 against Christian Mosley, the redshirt sophomore out of New Sarch, Louisiana, and Louisiana Tech as well, a transfer.
And Murray's had some big plays in this ball game. He's the one that knocked the ball out to allow for the interception, and now the tackle in the backfield. He's had a pretty good game so far.
4th down. Going deep, has a man open behind the defense. That's his tight end, Jordan Jones. Is he in? Yes, he is. Touchdown, Prairie View. 51 yards.
And you see Morton's ability to find receivers down the middle of the field. He found his tight end, Jones, in that zone, in that seam, and the big fella rumbled down the field. He was able to break tackles. I love the way he released the ball right down the middle of the field. Watch Jones break a tackle, and then he's got enough speed and balance to get to the end zone. It'll be interesting to see if they call this a touchdown. His right hand went down. I think they're going to look and see if his knee was down, because if his knee's not down, it will be a touchdown.
They're going to take a look at it. Our referee today, Marty Adams.
The previous play of touchdown is under further review.
It was really, really close.
Really close.
You saw that right hand go down. What they're going to look for is if his elbow touched or if his knee touched. If his knee or his elbow did not touch before he got the ball across the plane, it will be a touchdown. But once again, Morton is doing a good job of knowing where to go with the football.
Let's take one slow-mo look at it. And there's a hand. I think they're going to have to give that to him.
I don't know.
You think the ball was a little bit outside?
The right knee is down right there.
Oh, okay, yeah. The ball, this angle, the elbow's down. I think they're going to have to spot it on about the half-yard line from the other. This angle, he looks like he's in.
Well, the interesting thing about that, it was called a touchdown on the field.
Right.
So it has to be indisputable when they go back and look at it. That's the big question. Will the replay officials say, okay, this is indisputable, it shows that he was down?
Yeah, the end zone angle seemed to show to me irrefutably that is the ball, that the arm that he was carrying the ball in was definitely short of breaking the plane of the end zone when he went down. But the angle from our side seemed to show a different thing. So let's see how they sort it all out here.
After review, the runner was down prior to reaching the goal line. The ball will be spotted at the half-yard line. It will be first down and 10. The clock will start on the snap.
Stats guy Chris Taylor erases his board and takes the 51 off and puts 50 there. So give him 50 yards instead of the 51. First and goal for Prairie View. Big boys are in now up front. And here's the handoff, and jumping in for the touchdown is Caleb Broach. Caleb Broach, their bigger back at 5'9", 210 pounds, a senior out of Rockwall High School in Texas. Plunges it in, and Prairie View has the lead at 6-3, pending the extra point.
And you see the offensive line, they try to burrow themselves under the defenders. That's what you're taught to do on the goal line on short yardage plays. You don't want to stand up. You don't want to give your body up to the defender, because the defender can push you back into the backfield. So you want to burrow down to allow the back to find a hole to get through.
Zach Elder, and there's a problem with the snap, and a flag down, and now the desperation pass is intercepted. But we have at least 2 flags down on the play. The hold by Amari Martinez bobbled a little bit, which created a hiccup in the kicking motion, and everything just
holding. Offense number 69. That penalty declined by rule. Try is over. No good.
The holding wipes out the efforts of an extra point. So 6-3. One more look at the big play that led up to the score. Jordan Jones, 50 yards on the catch and run, and now touchdown. Prairie View leads.
I've done this. So let's get after it. What would you like the power to do?
ESPN College Football is presented by McDonald's. And in part by Sling TV, the best of live TV, and the thousands of top shows and movies on demand.
We are back, 6-3. The Panthers of Prairie View leading Texas Southern. Prairie View just completing a 6-play, 71-yard drive in 2 minutes, 2 seconds. Capped off by the 1-yard run by Caleb Broach for a touchdown. The extra point no good, but the key play of the drive, the 50-yard pass to Jordan Jones, who got it down for easy scoring territory there for the Panthers. And now kicking it deep, Zach Elder deep to receive it will be Tariq Buchanan, also Trendavian Dixon, one of the deep backs to receive. High and short on the kick, and a fair catch. So fair caught over at the 18-yard line, where Texas Southern will take over.
One of the things I want to see Texas Southern and DeAndre Johnson do is hold
a fair catch. The ball will be placed at the 25-yard line, first down and 10.
I want to see them hold the snap count. What I've noticed is Prairie View A&M's linebackers are walking up in those gaps. They're timing the snap count. But also when you hold the snap count, you allow your linemen to get good pre-snap reads to make sure they can get good protection.
Almost drew another guy offside. In fact, there is a flag down, throwing near side that time is DeAndre Johnson. And again, a flag on the play, and I think they drew another possible offside penalty. That's a preliminary signal. Chris Long was on the receiving end.
Offsides against the defense, number 8. That penalty is declined. Second down.
And once again, I think Prairie View is trying to time that snap count. go with the hard count, you can walk the ball up the field because they're continuing to jump.
Handoff up the middle, breaking tackles, and bouncing it outside is Ladarius Owens. And Owens gets it across midfield all the way down to the 45-yard line before he's pushed out of bounds. Make it the 44-yard line. 25 yards on that one for the one they call Lightning. There are a couple of talented freshman running backs, Ladarius Owens and Ja'Cory Howard, we might see a little bit later on. Quick pass on the near side as he finds his receiver, Trendavian Dixon.
And something that'll be overlooked is the play before. Trendavian Dixon did a good job of not blocking in the back.
Off the play fake. Going deep. Has Dixon open, and again, if he would have hauled that one in, it would have still been out of bounds. But they have had a couple plays in this game that were open down that left side, deep.
Well, they got Jalen Harris on a double move. All Johnson has to do is lay the ball out, and Trendavian Dixon will be able to run right under it. Quarterbacks tend to get really excited when they see their guy break open, and I think that's what we've seen on some of these long vertical plays by Johnson.
Third down. And bouncing off tackle some more. Again, Ladarius Owens. And Owens gets first down yardage inside the 35 to the 34. Jason Dumas brought him down, but again, he bounces off some tackles and keeps the chains moving. And there's a flag on the play. I don't think a Prairie View player was able to get off the field in time.
Well, he looked back. Run off the field. Don't look back to see if they snap the football. Get off the field. But that's fatigue starting to play a role with this fast-paced offense.
Illegal substitution, number 92 against the defense. That'd be a 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
You see him right here running off the field. Then he stops and looks back right here. No, keep running. You've got to concentrate on getting to the sideline. The official is right there looking at you. You can't look back.
So a lot of penalties so far, mental mistakes for Prairie View. Coach Dooley talked about wanting to stay disciplined and eliminate that type of mental error. We got a flag in the backfield around the area where you usually see holding at the 35-yard line. Johnson kept that one around the near side, but they're going to bring it all back.
Holding. Offense, number 72. 10-yard penalty. Replay second down.
And one of the issues for Nate Hines at that right tackle is you've got Isaiah Washington on the outside. For an offensive tackle, when you get your pregame notes for the upcoming ball game and you see a defensive end at about 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 240 to 260, you know this is a speed rusher. So you have to get back. You have to keep your shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, and at the third step, then you turn and run them past the quarterback level.
Wide open on the far side. Oh, my goodness, off the hands of Chris Long. Might have looked back into the sun on that one.
Yeah, but you got to make that catch. If you've got to cradle it and put your body in the back and let the ball bounce off, you've got to make that catch. You've got to squeeze the football. Right there, you've got to squeeze it. To me, he looked to turn around to see where he was, make the catch, and then try and make a play after you get possession of the football.
Chris Long caught 20 passes last year, 235 yards, scored a couple touchdowns. He wishes he had that one back. So it's third down. Johnson has a man open. First down yardage. Well, close. We'll see how that looks. Thurman Mobley on the catch, and depending on the spot, it'll be awfully close to it. They're going to give it to him. First down yardage. Move those chains. 14 yards on the pickup. And now bouncing it the opposite direction, and a great saving tackle that time coming up from the secondary position, Jalen Harris, to stop Ladarius Owens, who had reversed his field and might have had some open room there.
And to me, that's an example of where the fast-paced offense works against you. I don't think the offensive linemen were lined up correctly. They did not get a chance to get their good pre-snap reads. As an offensive lineman, when you're running the football, you have to identify who your guy is. And I don't think they had enough time running that fast-paced offense.
Tyler Cook. And Tyler Cook is hog-tied a little bit. Gets it down to the 20-yard line. Isaiah Washington making the tackle on the far side.
And some misdirection by Texas Southern on that play. You've got the left guard pulling. So what that does is that grabs the attention of the linebackers, and you get your back going around the right side.
On the delay, and Tyler Cook has plenty of room. Cook inside the 15, down to the 12.
And this is what I expected to see from Texas Southern. You've got these big offensive linemen, and they're road bending and getting up to the second level, covering up these linebackers.
Big pass on the far side, and again we get a drop over there in the sun area of the field. Donnie Corley couldn't hold on to that one.
And you've got to squeeze the football once again.
Prairie View.
Spoken by the offensive lineman.
We're out here battling on the line. They're bringing blitz packages. I need for my receivers to squeeze the football, get possession of the football.
We got a timeout on the field by Prairie View. We want to talk things over because really they haven't necessarily solved this offense so far early in this game. One more look at the last play coming up. What'd you say, big fella? Squeeze it?
Squeeze the football right here. Squeeze it. He's turning, trying to make a play because he sees the defender, Darius Campbell, coming towards him. If you're going to get hit, you're going to get hit. But you've got to get possession of the football first. But that's one of the things that Coach Dooley talked about is, the unknown with Texas Southern. You don't know what they're going to do offensively and defensively. So it's kind of a jigsaw puzzle right now for Prairie View A&M to figure out what's going on.
I was going to say they certainly have not solved this offense of Texas Southern. And Texas Southern, of course, under their new coach, Clarence McKinney, has brought in 11 transfers in this year's roster. 12 plays, 63 yards currently on the drive. And this is Ladarius Owens spinning down to about the 10-yard line.
I'll tell you a play right now that will be good, a screen pass, because you've got the defenders coming up the field flying with their ears pinned back.
Down the middle and off the hands of his intended target, incomplete. He was looking for big Chris Long, his tight end once again.
And you see Johnson, he tries to squeeze it in there. Number 20 may have gotten a fingertip on the football. Rashard Smith, a good job changing the trajectory of the football because it looked like Long may have had an opportunity to make a play on that football because Johnson threw it where it needed to be thrown.
28-yard field goal attempt is up and good. So Richard Garcia, after missing his first effort from 35, has 2 for his next 2. We are tied at 6. And, of course, talking about putting your money where your mouth is, well, Texas Southern alumni Michael Strahan did that and then some, buying and donating shoulder pads, state-of-the-art shoulder pads, to his alma mater. Coach trying them on for size, and that has to feel good.
And it almost felt like he didn't want to. He said it's been 30 years since I put on some shoulder pads. Did he think one of the guys was going to come up and challenge him?
Maybe so.
But you got to love that.
A couple did stand up, like they wanted to hit.
Yeah. Those are probably some of the guys that have gone through a lot of discipline with Coach in fall camp.
Garcia hitting that 28-yard field goal, and so far a little bit different than the 60-14 blowout at the hands of Prairie View. What a block behind DeWanye Tucker, and now we get a flag thrown very late. Very late. I'm trying to figure out what it's for. Maybe a little taunting?
No, I think they're going to call it a defenseless player. But it's the kickoff. It's kickoff coverage. You've got guys flying down the field. I don't like that call if that's what it is. I thought Ladarius Owens did a good job.
Drake Cheatham with that big block.
Excuse me, Cheatham. But I don't think it's a penalty.
Personal foul. Blindside block. Receiving team, number 22. Penalty enforced half the distance to the goal. First down.
What? I guess my question is, what is he supposed to do? It's a kickoff. He's coming down. He's making a play. It wasn't a malicious hit. He
certainly doesn't want to hit him below the knees on a play like that. Blindside block.
So is he supposed to just stand there, I guess, with his hands up in the air?
Hey, it's a new day. We are tied at 6 after Texas Southern ties it on an impressive 75-yard march. Took up 4 minutes, 5 seconds.
And I'm sorry to keep harping on this, but on kickoff receiving team, everyone knows you have to keep your head on the swivel.
Dewanye Tucker on first down did not get much. Patrick Howell was there on the tackle. No gain on that first down play, so second and long for Jalen Morton and the Prairie View offense. Morton will keep throwing deep, near side, back shoulder, and through the hands of his intended target, Tony Mullins, number 19, the intended target on that pass attempt. So it'll be third and long.
And what Texas Southern is doing, they're giving a lot of cushion to the receivers on the outside. They're playing man coverage, and they're keeping their linebackers home. They don't want to allow Morton to get outside the pocket.
Morton stepping up in the pocket, fires far side. That one knocked away on a nice play as it looked like a catch over there on the far side. But once again, Joshua Murray getting a hand in there.
Well, what's happening is the pocket is collapsing around Morton, and I think he's getting rid of the football earlier than he wants to. He wants to allow his receivers to break open. Texas Southern is doing a good job giving a big cushion, but they're not turning and running at the snap of the football. A lot of times where defensive backs are giving cushions, they turn and run at the snap. They're doing a good job of keeping everything in front of them, and they're watching the quarterback. But when you can't block 7, you're going to get pressure on the quarterback, and that's what's happening. I think for Prairie View, they've got to start thinking about max protection, leaving some backs in because you want to give Morton time to try and make a play for you.
Caleb Darbone, under some heavy pressure, did get it away and gets a fortuitous bounce. And Kejuan Chris reverses field. And Chris finally brought down inside the 45 to the 43-yard line, where Texas Southern once again will have excellent field position.
And one of the things I'm starting to see is Johnson is getting into a rhythm with Texas Southern. He found his receivers on the last drive. He did a good job, and that's one of the things that Prairie View has to be aware of. Once Johnson continues to get comfortable in this offense, I think he's going to find some receivers. He's going to take a little bit off of those vertical routes where he's missed on 2 occasions.
That failed Prairie View drive was the first 3 and out by either team in this ball game. We're almost at the end of the first quarter. Under heavy pressure, but wide open. Long on the near side. Long is inside the 20 and kicks away from defenders who were trying to take him down.
And the outside defensive back went with the inside receiver. Nobody paid attention to Long. And a good job by Johnson being able to recognize where the deficiency was on defense and where to go with the football.
Give him 28 yards on that one. Coach McKinney said our tight end or H positions can create a lot of matchup difficulties because these guys can run, and Long proved it on that play, especially when you're wide open down there.
And once again, all of this comes with a better understanding of the offense. They talked about Johnson coming in the spring and learning the offense, and then in fall camp, mastering the offense.
Davian Dixon caught one quick hitter, catches another one inside the 5, still moving, touchdown! Davian Dixon showing some super strength, darting through tackles for a 12-yard scoring play.
And all of that is because of Thurman Mobley on the outside, number 5. He had a great block on the outside. You have to block in the perimeter when you receive. Watch number 5. It's a great block right there when the ball gets to the receiver. A great job. And then Dixon, he did his Fred Astaire thing to get to the end zone.
Showed some strength at the end, taking a couple bodies in the end zone with him. Now Garcia the third for the extra point. And that is good. And Texas Southern is proving to be pretty unstoppable on offense so far in this game. Here's the wide open Long on the near side. And Long gets taken out of bounds, and a few plays later, Trendavian Dixon, one of their leading receivers from 2018, shows some moves, breaks some tackles, and then shows the strength at the end to get in on the 12-yard touchdown.
And that's great teamwork because Dixon got the football, but right as he's squeezing the football, you see Mobley make that great block. And that's what has to happen. A good job. Look at the drive charts. 9 plays, 62 yards, but it was positive yards. They should have had the field goal. 5 plays, 14 yards. After the turnover, they got the field goal. 75 yards on a 15-play drive, another field goal. And now 3 plays with the big play going down the field to Long, and then Trendavian Dixon getting the touchdown with the great block by Mobley on the outside. That's teamwork. One of the things that you see now also with Johnson, he's standing tall in the pocket. He's waiting to the last minute to release the football. He's doing a good job of allowing his receivers to get open.
Garcia kicking it deep. It comes down to Dewanye Tucker, and Tucker gets to the corner. One man to beat, and the kicker pushes him out of bounds at the 48-yard line to perhaps save a touchdown.
Now, I don't know what the outcome of the ball game will be, but I guarantee you in film study, they're going to tell Tucker, you cannot let the kicker make the play. But that's a good job by the kicker. You just want to get in the way and force him to the out, and force him out of bounds. Now, for Prairie View, they've got to get some momentum going here because right now Texas Southern has all of the momentum.
And Texas Southern has a 7-point lead right now. 5 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Glad you're with us here on ESPN. Morton gets away from some pressure. Now we got a flag on the play as well. And Morton hit on the near side, hit hard and hit low, but a flag on the field at the 48-yard line of Prairie View.
And that's a great play by number 56, Gerald Taylor. He was able to shed the block, and he stayed in front of Morton, kept his feet moving. Morton tried to cut it back, and he came with pursuit.
Holding, offense, number 77. Penalty from the previous spot, 10 yards. Still first down. We will have 1 untimed down.
Marquez Griffin called for the holding, and Morton took a really hard shot on the near side and was a bit gimpy getting up after that one.
He's got a little hitch in the giddy. I think he'll be able to walk that off. He's a big kid, strong kid. Let's hope that that's nothing serious.
So an untimed down here to end the first quarter, unless, of course, we get another penalty. Morton has to throw that one at the feet of Christian Mosley. So the first quarter has come to a close. And we have seen Texas Southern do it all on offense. 13-6. The Tigers lead the Panthers. '19 SWAC preseason poll. The teams that met for it all and a berth in the Celebration Bowl last year. Alcorn and Southern favored to win their respective divisions in 2019. So far, not many expecting Texas Southern to be much after a 2-9 campaign, but they've got a new coach and a new attitude and a pretty good offense so far in this game against Prairie View. Rolling out to the near side was Morton. And it'll all come down to how this Prairie View team will do against Alcorn, Grambling, and Southern, who have been the powers in SWAC football over the last several years. Look at their record against those three and against the rest of the conference opponents. 30-1. but only 4-11 against those three perennial powers. Throwing far side, a nice tight rope that time to Tristan Wallace, and Wallace has first down yardage right at midfield, where they'll move the chains, and Prairie View will have a fresh set of downs.
And Gerald Taylor is getting some pressure off that right side of that defense. It's going to be interesting to see how the left tackle is able to respond to his speed rush as this game continues to progress.
I'm sorry, the first down marker was behind where the guy was standing, so I thought maybe he got the first down. He did not. Caleb Darbone on the punt, and it is fair caught at the 13-yard line where they'll take over.
And off camera, we were talking about DeAndre Johnson. One of the things I think that Prairie View has to understand about this young man is he's seen it all. When you've played at Florida State, when you've played at FAU, when you've played on the junior college level, there's nothing he hasn't seen. And one of the things that I'm noticing is he's sitting back in the pocket. He sees the pressure coming. He knows he's going to get hit, but he releases the ball when he wants to. And that's been the biggest difference between he and Morton this afternoon.
185 yards of total offense for Texas Southern in that first quarter. 123 of them through the air, and through the air once again coming near side. Open receiver is Donnie Corley, and Corley gets it out across the 20 to the 21 before he's forced out of bounds.
And once again, a good job of knowing where to go with the football, knowing where his open receiver is going to be, and giving them a chance to make plays in the open field.
There's the give, cutting back up the middle, and depending on the spot, he'll have first down yardage, and that's Ja'Cory Howard. They call him Thunder. He's 6 feet 200 pounds, a freshman out of Houston, Texas. And here he is once again, bouncing off tackles and getting out close to the 30. Ronald Collins brought him down, but a good pickup on first down once again. As we stated earlier, Prairie View has not solved this Texas Southern offense just yet. Pump fake now, another wide open receiver who is looking downfield. Can't blame the son on that one.
Absolutely not. But what you also need to notice, look at the defensive lineman for Prairie View. Guys have their hands on their hips. These guys are getting gassed out here because of this fast-paced offense and the size differential. When you've got an extra 45 pounds leaning on you and it's the way it's coming, you're starting to see fatigue set in.
Third Texas Southern drop of a pass today, and a little delay, and there is Thunder, Ja'Cory Howard, and Howard gets out to the 33-yard line. Drake Cheatham brought him down, and it'll be fourth down.
Very conservative play call on third down. I think right now when you've got the pressure on Prairie View, you need to try and get positive yards, get the first down. I thought it would have been better to allow Johnson to try and throw the ball down the field. You've got guys on the defense that are gassed right now.
Tony Mullins deep to receive the punt. Nick Russo, and here's Mullins at his 21. And Mullins gets out across the 25 to the 26, where Prairie View will take over, trailing by 7. 12:29 to go in the first half.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Mountain Dew. Do the do. And Heat Portable Protein Snack, the more interesting way to get your protein.
Jack Yates High School, where Clarence McKinney spent many of his days and would climb the fence and get over into Houston Stadium across the way. And of course, he made quite a name for himself growing up in this area and going to high school just within a hair's throw of this football stadium, BBVA Stadium here in Houston, Texas. And there he is again, his 30th high school reunion taking place this weekend. So he has got a lot of guys who are going to give him a lot of ribbon if his team does not hold on to this lead and win the game. It's only 13-6 now in the second quarter, but his team playing very well. Deep pass down the middle and stripped away at the last possible moment. Nice defensive effort by Matthew Stevenson against Tristan Wallace there.
And a good job by Stevenson not to panic, but wait till the football gets there and get his arm in there. Watch Stevenson. He doesn't panic. He waits till the ball is there. Then he sticks his arm in there and follows through all the way down for the tackle to strip the ball out.
0 for 2 on 3rd down. Not this time. The pass is complete. And Jeffrey Rector gets it and gets first down yardage. He gets it down to the 46-yard line. Well, they will move the change. 5th-year senior out of Houston, Texas is number 87, Jeffrey Rector. Pick up a 17 that time. Quick hitter, but we got multiple flags down on the play. That time, Kalen Riles. And the offensive coordinator, or Coach Dooley, who handles a lot of the offense, of course, he is the offensive guru around here, told us he'd rotate a lot of receivers in. So a lot of guys are going to be out there catching passes on both sides.
And that was another thing he was non-committal about the play calling.
Right.
Chop block. Offense, number 50 and number 71. 15 yards from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
DeJohn Jones and Colby Lewis combined for an illegal chop.
And watch the left guard and the left tackle. Now, you can't be engaged. Number 50, you can't put hands on the defender when he's already engaged by the guard getting cut.
Pass far side, now coming back up inside his blocks. That time is Tristan Wallace. And Wallace picks up pretty good yardage there after the penalty. It's up to the 45-yard line before Marquel Daigle brought him down. Second down and 11. Stepping up in the pocket and keeping it before it slides down to safety is Jalen Morton. Morton got out to the 48-yard line.
One of the matchups I'm watching is right here on the outside. This defensive end, 6'4", 240. For this offensive tackle, he's got to get 3 kick steps back, and at that point, turn and run him past the quarterback. This allows for a pocket on the outside.
Third down. Pass and has his man on the catch at the 40-yard line, and a flag comes in from way back from the back judge. Maybe they call a launch here on the hit. Might have been Matthew Stevenson.
Targeting. Defense, number 24. Penalty reinforced 15 yards from the end of the catch. Automatic first down. By rule, the previous play of target is under further review.
And that was Kentarius Walker, who they charged with the targeting foul. As they look it over, we'll take a break and come back in a few.
Into action. What would you like the power to do?
Now we're back here in Houston. The targeting penalty was reviewed and it was overturned. So the catch is for 12 yards, first down at the 40. Quick swing. DeWanye Tucker. Tucker has some room. Bounces off the tackles. And Tucker inside the 25 to the 23.
And that was a great job by the left tackle, DeJohn Jones, to get out on the outside, get to the second level. Great job by number 50 right here. He got up the field, up to the second level, is able to cover up the back to allow his back to get up the field. That's what you want to do as an offensive lineman. You give your running backs angles and lanes to cut off when you're able to get to the second level defenders.
Quick wide receiver screen to Tristan Wallace that time, and he picked his way through for about 5. So it'll be second down, and now Prairie View A&M picking up the pace a little bit with no huddle. And wanted a snap as a Texas Southern player was running out the field. Here's DeWanye Tucker! Up and over! Touchdown! 17 yards on the run for DeWanye Tucker.
And what Tucker showed you on that play is what you want to see from your backs. First, he showed vision. He's able to see that the hole he initially wanted to go through wasn't there. And then he bounces it to the outside. Then he has the speed to beat the defender over to the cone and the power to jump over the defender and get the ball across the plane to get the touchdown.
And Zach Elder going to attempt a tie. And now we have whistles on the field. And I guess they didn't like the fact that the flag folks from Prairie View were running across the end zone at about the time that Zach Elder was going to make the kick. Snap in the dirt, but it's recovered, and the extra point is good. One more look. Dewanye Tucker, the Superman routine. We are tied at 13 here in the second.
As your life grows, so do your needs. And with Bank of America and Merrill, the benefits you get can grow too. As a Preferred Rewards member, you can enjoy priority service and exclusive discounts, so your growing life can be more rewarding too. What would you like the power to do?
ESPN Plus is your home for thousands of live events and exclusive originals. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com.
Obviously, the most impressive march of the afternoon, or I should say evening, here in Houston by Eric Dooley's offense. 9 plays, 73 yards, 3 minutes, 11 seconds time of possession. Dewanye Tucker capping things off with that 17-yard run. We are tied at 13, and back deep to receive the kickoff is Tyler Cook, standing just at about his 2-yard line. He'll receive the kick from Zach Elder. And we have had a good one so far. Not a whole lot of defense. And both teams moving it up and down the field with 9:18 to go here in the first half. And fielding it is Tyler Cook. Cook trying to find some room along the far side, and does. But he's finally hog-tied down. Or he had a little room out there along the left side as he took that one back across field. And Texas Southern is going to take over on offense.
And if Jeffrey Rector, number 87, doesn't make that tackle, he may still be running. You see right here, he's able to get to the outside. He's got a lead blocker right there. Now watch number 87. If he doesn't make that tackle, there's nobody else to the outside, and he may still be running down the field.
Ball on the 18-yard line and just outside the 18. And here's DeAndre Johnson going to keep this one near side. And Johnson will run out of bounds at the 23.
And you saw some of that speed right there. Johnson's ability to get to the outside, get positive yards, but also make a good decision to protect himself and get out of bounds.
Greg Rhodes was the guy who forced him out. A pickup of about 5. Now quick pass on the near side. That's been open really all night. And that one corralled that time by Donnie Corley. And Corley will move the chains as it's out across the 30 to the 31-yard line.
Well, Johnson is doing what any good quarterback would do. If you're going to give an 8 to 10-yard cushion, I'm going to throw it out to my playmaker in space and allow him to make plays.
Pickup of 8 yards to get that first down. Now 3 receivers split out. Top of your screen, far side left. There's a little delay. Coming near side and met hard. That time was Ladarius Owens. And he was met by Trishad Smith, who really laid the lumber on him. A loss of 1 on that play.
And I think for Owens, when you get the football, you got to go. You can't tiptoe trying to get to the sideline. Defenders are coming up to make a hit. You've got to plant and go.
Johnson comes near side, a little high on that throw off the fingertips of Donnie Corley, so it'll set up 3rd and long. An amazing story for that quarterback, DeAndre Johnson. His fourth school, a guy, like you said, one of the top-rated high schoolers coming out. The guy can play, the guy can run, he has a strong arm, and his head coach said, we expect him to lead us to a SWAC championship. That's our expectation. Playing pretty well so far this evening. Going to step up in the pocket, breaking down a little bit, and he's going to be forced out of bounds, well short of the first down out of the 33-yard line. DeMarcus Robinson was one of those white shirts that forced him out and likely will set up a fourth down punt situation for Texas Southern.
And the back picked up the block, but Johnson was pressed out of the pocket. He did a good job by not trying to force the ball, because he would have had to throw it back across his body, and that would not have boded well.
Nick Russo standing back will strike this from his 22 or so. He barely got that one off. Mullins going to let that one bounce, and it takes a favorable bounce for Prairie View A&M. They'll take over in great field position after only the 26 net yard punt. So they'll take over at the 42-yard line. Will the Panthers of Prairie View, 1st and 10, excellent field position in a tie ball game at 13.
And the punter for Texas Southern needs to take some acting classes because the rusher hit his plant foot. If he falls down, that's an instant first down, automatic first down when you hit the plant foot of the punter.
Jalen Morton leading his offense back out again. An impressive march the last time they had possession of the football. Low play fake. Now throws far side and overshoots an open receiver on the far side. One more look at that non-acting job.
So you got to fall down right there. He hit your plant foot. You got to fall down and writhe in so-called pain to act as though he really rolled into you.
Maybe we attribute that to Nick Russo being a freshman. He doesn't quite pick up the acting stuff yet.
Look, man, you're a punter. You know the rules of engagement.
Comes to the near side here. That time Xavier Johnson gets across midfield.
You got one job, to punt the football, and if you get hit, fall down.
9 yards picked up on that play. That'll set up 3rd down and short.
And let's see if Texas Southern walks up those linebackers in those gaps.
Little delay, and that one was blown up from the word go, as back there in the backfield is big number 92, Ike Onswa. And he just really blew that one up, tackling DeWanye Tucker as soon as he got a hold of it.
Yeah, and the true freshman, Arendelle Briggs, just got welcomed to college football. You've got to be the low man. When you give a defender your body, they can get up under you and they can push you back. That was a great job pushing the offensive lineman back into the back, not giving him anywhere to cut off.
Caleb Darbone punting it deep to Thurman Mobley this time, and Darbone, nice high punt. And it's going to be allowed to bounce. Did they save it? No, I don't believe they did. It'll be a touchback. And so Texas Southern will take over. 5:32 to go in the half. We're still tied at 13. Let's take a look at a little bit of Labor Day classic flavor for you with 5:32 to go in the first half. The cheerleaders, of course, ready to go, and the band's ready to battle at halftime, and both these teams battling out here on the field. And the Jet, Kenny Smith, spent a few of his NBA years with the Houston Rockets. Now, of course, TNT analyst for the NBA on TNT, on the sidelines. Everybody knows who he is. Of course, they called him the Jet. Throwing deep, and has a man. Donnie Corley gets behind the defense, 23 yards, as they get this one out to the 43-yard line. And again, they go without the huddle, trying to keep this Prairie View defense a little bit off balance. Give to the near side and finally forced down and out of bounds, but they'll keep the clock running. That time is Ladarius Owens.
And on the previous play, that was a good job by Johnson to fit the ball in between the cornerback and the safety. He put it right in the pocket where only his offensive player can make a play on the football.
DeAndre Johnson, for the most part tonight, has looked impressive, leading this Texas Southern offense. Going deep down the far side, has a man, but coming over to defend that one was Logan Jackson. Might have bothered the intended receiver that time, Montel Parker, just a little bit.
And if Logan Jackson looks up, he may have had an opportunity to make a play on the football and get an interception.
And DeAndre Johnson, 13 of 22 for 160 yards and a touchdown so far, and we have a whistle on the field.
Timeout. Prairie View. Second charge timeout of the half.
Prairie View taking a timeout, their second of the half.
This will be a 30-second timeout. 30-second timeout.
Somebody didn't like what they saw there on the defensive alignment, evidently. I tell you, a lot different than the game between these two that ended last season, a 60-14 drubbing did Texas Southern take at the hands of Prairie View A&M. Nothing like that. Coach McKinney said, hey, we've not even addressed that. There's a new guys, new team, and one thing he's told us, even with all these transfers and everybody that's a new player coming in here, everybody bought in immediately. Everybody bought into this philosophy. Everybody believes, and you can see why they believe in their quarterback.
Well, they're playing for their teammates, and you see that on the outside with receivers blocking on the outside. Everyone is getting excited for one another when they make a big play, and that's what you want to see from your ball club. Everybody buying in.
3rd and 7. Big pressure, and down he goes, the first sack of the game. Coming on the blitz was Darius Campbell from his secondary spot, and they finally get some pressure on DeAndre Johnson.
Well, what they did is they did a tackle and twist. So you're going to see this man come down inside, and they're going to loop around, and the quarterback has to react to that. And you see right there, the offensive linemen have got to react to that. You've got to knock your man off if you're going to stay on your man. What that does is that allows the offensive lineman next to you know that he has to pick up the looping defender.
Loss of 7 yards on that sack, and Nick Russo, nice high punt, goes out of bounds. They'll mark it out just at the 25-yard line as Tony Mullins was back deep to receive. So inside of 4 minutes to go here in the first half, still tied at 13, and now Prairie View gets it back with an opportunity to do something with it before the half.
Now, right now, Prairie View has to be very careful. You don't need to try and get it all on one play, because if you make a bad play down here, you're going to give the ball right back to this Texas Southern offense. They've kind of cooled off a little bit. You don't want them to get back into a rhythm before the half.
And let's see what Jalen Morton and his offense has in store. And a little jet sweep. Plenty of room on the outside, and finally brought down by the jersey on that run. Outside there is Tony Mullins, who carried it on the jet sweep, and he picked up 9. I thought he might get a lot more the way it was developing over there, but he was brought down on a little delay. Go on, your Tucker! 66 yards.
And I want you to watch the right guard on this play. A great job pulling and opening up the hole. That's what you want to see from your offensive lineman. You see right here, he loops around and he gets to the second level right here. And right there, once he gets to the second level, there's no more defenders. And Tucker, it's just catch me if you can at that point. When you've got offensive linemen that can cover up those linebackers, I don't care how fast they are, how good they are, the size differential makes a difference. And for Texas Southern, there was nobody else back there. So once Tucker got to the second level, there was nothing else left for him. Watch when he gets to the second level. There's nothing else. It's just free sailing at that point. And it's just outrunning the defenders. Nobody had a chance, even at an angle, to try and catch him.
So Dewanye Tucker, 2 touchdowns here in the second quarter, one on a 17-yard run and the other on that little delay up the middle there. By the time anybody saw him, it was a little bit too late. 66 yards for the man who was second team preseason all SWAC, third in the SWAC in rushing back in 2018. 2 plays, 75 yards, just 34 seconds thanks to that 66-yard run. And Prairie View back on top by 7 with 3:19 to go in the half. Zach Elder going to tee it up at the 35. And he's going to kick it deep to Tariq Buchanan, who's standing on his 5. Trendavian Dixon, correction, is back on his own 5. Deep to receive the kick. So lightning striking twice for Prairie View. Impressive march to tie the game and a quick strike to go ahead thanks to Dewanye Tucker on the 66-yard run. Elder. High end over end kick, fielded at the 8. And out of over the 25. One more look at the touchdown for us.
And what I want you to look at, you see the second level defenders right here. There's nothing back here at the third level. So once this guard loops around and gets up to the second level and he covers up, you don't have to have a knockout block. All you have to do is cover up the defender and give your back somewhere to come around. You see right there, number 74, he covered up. He didn't have a knockout block, but once Tucker cut off of him, there was no one left to make the tackle.
So now DeAndre Johnson going to try to answer. In the last 3:15 here of the first half. There's Tyler Cook. And Cook bringing it to the near side, got it out across the 30 to the 32. Trishad Smith brought him down.
Now, as we said on the last drive for Prairie View, they have to be very careful. DeAndre Johnson has to be careful right here. You don't want to try and get it all on one play.
And a blitzing linebacker kind of disrupted that draw play. And Tyler Cook is brought down. Very minimal gain on that play. Looks set up 3rd and 5.
And they're calling very conservative plays right now. I'm a little bit surprised.
Design keeper and DeAndre Johnson lost the football. Who's got it? Prairie View says they do.
Is a fumble covered by Prairie View. First down and 10.
And I just don't understand that play call. You're putting your quarterback in harm's way, trying to run a quarterback dive against a defense that's coming up the field. It looked like someone kicked the football, or no, he fell into his offensive lineman. Now the question is, was his left knee down? It looked like he may have been trying to keep his knees off the ground and crawl and get more yards. You see right here. Now the ball is coming out.
No knee is down yet.
Friendly fire. That's what took that ball out.
First turnover for Texas Southern, and recovering that fumble was Desmond Obie. Going deep for it all in the end zone and knocked away. Incomplete. Looking for Tristan Wallace that time, who was well covered.
And number 21, Matthew Stevenson, never turned around to locate the football.
If he does, he has a chance maybe to catch it.
He just happened to be at the right place with his helmet placement.
Right off the top of the helmet. So Jalen Morton lives again. Quick swing. Room on the outside. Caleb Broach. And Broach is pushed out of bounds inside the 30 at the 28.
You can see Broach with that stutter step to make the defender think, and he's able to get to the outside and get 3 or 4 more positive yards.
Give him 5 on that play. That'll set up 3rd down and 5. Clock running. Now inside of 2 minutes to go in the half. Prairie View up by 7 and trying to add more. Pass near side, has a man. Complete. Did he go down? I don't know if he did. Mullins on the catch. And I don't know if he went down at all. Let's see what the ruling is. I don't think he actually touched down with a knee or anything. Give him 17 yards if this stands. No, rolled over the top of the body of the defender. And he's down inside the 15 to the 12-yard line. Tucker inside the 10, down to the 7.
And you're starting to see a lot of moving parts for this Prairie View offense. You've got backs in motion. They're throwing to backs out of the backfield. What they're doing is trying to get the ball to their playmakers in the open field and allowing those guys to make plays. They feel like they can win the one-on-one battle in the open field with their specialty players against the Texas Southern defensive players.
Morton, another quick hitter. Has his receiver inside the 5 before he's finally stood up there. Jared Scott got inside the 5-yard line as we move to inside a minute.
But once again, you've got moving parts. Pre-snap reads that the defense has to think about, has to pay attention to. You had 85 coming in motion before the snap of the football. The defense has to pay attention to him.
Got to get it to just outside the 1 to have a fresh set of downs. Quick swing. And a nice tackle behind the line of scrimmage. And that time, Jacob Anderson coming up to make a big hit. And so that'll bring up a 4th down with 26. Well, the clock is running. Now approaching inside of 20 seconds to go here in the half. And Zach Elder going to come on to attempt a 23-yard field goal. You better hurry. Okay, now they're going to take a timeout. I was going to say.
3rd and final timeout of the half.
They were going to run out of time before they were going to be able to get that one off. They call a timeout. Their final one of the half. So, barring a penalty, Elder will make the last play of the first half. Coming up at halftime here from Houston, Forrest and I, SWAC preview. Tell you what, if this game is anything like we can expect from the SWAC all year, it's going to be an exciting season. Look at the top 10 FBS. Can anybody beat Clemson? Will Alabama knock on the door again? I'll leave it to you to answer some of those questions at halftime.
You're going to put all the pressure on me.
All the pressure on you. I'll tell you, sometimes a young quarterback, Lawrence of Clemson, looks like he could play tomorrow in the NFL. I mean, it's just, I know he's a young guy and he's got more to learn, but my goodness.
Well, that's one of the big concerns I have for him. He's such a young kid and there's so much pressure on him. You know, people are calling him the greatest college quarterback ever already. Right. So, you know, just let the kid enjoy the game and continue to progress as he learns the game, preparing himself for the next level.
Zach Elder, did he get it inside? He did. Got it inside the left upright, and that'll do it for the first half. Prairie View impressive, scoring 17 straight points. And the Panthers lead it 23-13 after exploding in the second quarter. Well, we saw Texas Southern really come out and land some big punches and really move the ball well offensively. What happened to turn that momentum around? You spoke about that for us, that Prairie View needed momentum, and they got it there in the second quarter. Well,
Prairie View's starting to get pressure on the quarterback. I thought some of the play calling was suspect. I didn't like the quarterback dive play on 3rd and about 4. I think you've got to protect your quarterback. You've got a gem of a quarterback in DeAndre Johnson. He can throw the football. I think when you run Johnson, you want to run him to the outside, get him to the edges, get him in open space. I don't like having my quarterback in the middle where all the big fellas are, where somebody can fall on him and possibly hurt him. I think for Prairie View, it's been an interesting matchup on the outside. DeJon Jones, great footwork. He needs to have more punch on the outside. because he's going against a pass rusher in Gerald Taylor who's bringing it up the field. One of the things that I see with the pass rushers for Texas Southern, they're getting to the outside. They're making those offensive tackles open up their shoulders before they get that third kick step back. These offensive tackles have to do a better job of getting that third kick step than turning and running the defensive ends past the quarterback level. What that allows is for the quarterback to go side to side. The guards in the center have to be stout at the point of attack, which allows the quarterback to climb the pocket and throw the ball down the field and step into his throws. So those are some of the things I'm going to look for in the second half. I want to see if these tackles can do a better job on the outside. They've got to be dancing bears out there. You got to be a big fella, but you got to be able to dance out there. You got to be able to hand fight. I don't see a lot of hand fighting. I see a lot of catching. So I want to see some punching, some hand fighting from the tackles. And it's going to be interesting to see what the play calling is in the second half for Johnson. If you're going to run him, get him to the outside, not down the middle.
Prairie View really turned it around their last 4 possessions, 2 touchdowns, a field goal, only 1 punt, and the Panthers leading 23-13 at the half. We'll continue halftime festivities from BBVA Stadium in just a few moments. Stay where you are.
Bounces to the outside, and he finds the end zone. Waller right up the middle. Deshaun Waller, he's got the Jets on. Oh, baby. Noah Johnson finds his way for the score. Alcorn State, they're going to take home their 16th SWAC title.
Halftime here in Houston, Texas of the Labor Day Classic between Prairie View A&M and Texas Southern, along with Forrest Connolly. I'm Eric Clemens, and this game might play a big part in determining what happens in the SWAC from here on in, especially for a Prairie View team looking to turn that corner and become a conference power. But let's take a look at the 2019 preseason polls, and of course, the more things change, the more they stay the same. The 2 teams that met for the SWAC championship last year are the 2 favorites this time around, Alcorn State and Southern University in the Western Division.
Well, for Alcorn State, it's an embarrassment of riches. You've got the preseason Offensive Player of the Year, Noah Johnson, and the preseason Defensive Player of the Year, Solomon Muhammad. A total of 12 players on the first and second team preseason team, with 3 of those players being offensive linemen. To me, that stands out when you talk about protecting your quarterback, giving rushing lanes for your running backs. But don't overlook Southern University. They got 6 players on the preseason all-conference team, so they're going to be a tough outing for anyone in the Western Division as well.
And, of course, you can't count out Grambling, who's been there all along, all the time. And Prairie View, depending on what happens tonight and in the future with that outstanding offense, might make some noise in the West. In the East, Cannell Maynor has taken over at Alabama A&M. He is an offensive guru, so you might want to watch A&M as well in the Eastern Division. Now let's take a look at the last 5 SWAC champions. And, of course, Alcorn State winning it last year and falling a little bit short against North Carolina A&T in the celebration. Okay, so we are continuing with halftime festivities here in Houston, Texas. We'll be back with more. We'll continue in just a few moments. Halftime festivities continuing at BBVA Stadium here in Houston, Texas, with Prairie View leading Texas Southern 23-13 at the half. You're looking at the Ocean of Soul from Prairie View Entertain. We'll be back with more in a few moments.
Growing.
Back in Houston, Texas, halftime festivities continuing. Prairie View leading Texas Southern by 10. Prairie View getting hot in the second quarter, scoring 17 unanswered points. And next Saturday, we'll have a can't miss, I do mean can't miss, early season college football doubleheader on ABC and the ESPN app. Number 1 Clemson hosts number 12 Texas A&M in Death Valley at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Then it's 6th ranked LSU, 10th ranked Texas on the 40 acres at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific in our Saturday night football game presented by Wells Fargo. 2 tremendous games, and big fella, of course, you played in what would today be called the Power Conference for a powerhouse team at Florida State. what do you think? How's it shaping out this year? As I asked you before half, can anybody beat Clemson? Is Clemson and their young quarterback getting way too much credit right now?
Well, I think for Trevor Lawrence, he's just got to continue to learn. I just hate all of the pressure. Everyone thinks it's cool, and it's cool on the outside looking in, but when you're the guy that everyone's paying attention to, some people have declared him as the best ever college football quarterback. He's had one season of extreme success. Now, don't get me wrong.
Right.
He's a special, special talent. This kid looks like John Elway when he was at Stanford already at 19 years old. So I think he has the potential to not only be the #1 quarterback, but one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen in college football. But let the kid play. Let the game come to him. Now, with Alabama, everybody's talking about the loss of Dylan Moses. I think as the season progresses will hurt that ball club.
All right, and look at the AP top 10 going into the season. Of course, Clemson, defending national champion, is #1. Alabama, you can never count them out with Nick Saban there, and of course the quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. And then Georgia making some noise in the SEC as always. Oklahoma, Jalen Hurts over there. How do you think he's going to perform for the Sooners?
I think he'll be fine. They've got enough talent around him. This is the team that I think everyone needs to pay attention to. Ohio State. They've got Justin Fields, the Georgia transfer. He was the #1 dual threat quarterback coming out. He just could not get past Jake Fromm, and I think he was a better player than Jake Fromm, but I think Jake Fromm had won so much, took him to the championship game. You can't pull him out. I don't know why Fields decided to go there, but it was a great choice for him to go to Ohio State. You saw him running the ball effectively and throwing it down the field today.
Any team other than Ohio State you see in that top 10 that might make some noise in your opinion as we go into this 2019 campaign?
I'm interested to see what Michigan does. Michigan's been talking a lot because of Urban Meyer not being at Ohio State. We know how Jim Harbaugh is. He's a very boisterous, very outgoing personality.
Yes.
You know, you love to play for him, but you hate to play against him. So it'll be interesting to see what Michigan does. I'm surprised they're only leading by 4 points against Middle Tennessee. You know, so they have to get it together. But Ohio State is a team I like. Georgia's always going to be there because they keep top-notch talent. And now you're going to get to see some of Kirby Smart's recruits, not just Smart Rich recruits. More of these guys are Kirby Smart guys. So let's see how they mature and how they act. And now Swift is the main guy in that backfield. They usually do running back by committee, and I'm sure they'll do that again. But we know Swift will be the guy.
All right. Halftime festivities continuing here in Houston as the Texas Southern Marching Band entertaining the home crowd. We'll be back with more in just a few moments.
Can be more.
Halftime festivities continuing here at BBVA Stadium in Houston, Texas, where Prairie View scored 17 unanswered in the second quarter to build a 10-point lead against Texas Southern. Eric Clemens along with Forrest Connolly here in the booth. And I tell you, Forrest, Texas Southern, they had a new attitude coming into this season. They have a new quarterback, and he was awfully impressive, especially in the first quarter, and might have been more impressive if not for a few drops.
Absolutely. Well, he started off a little bit strange, you know, throwing it overthrows, but then he started getting the ball to receivers, and they started to drop the football. You see a drop right there, receiver trying to make a play before every possession, and then another drop by another receiver. But then they got it going. You see him get the ball to his playmaker out in space, the big tight end. He's able to get positive yards. And then you see the play right here. You get your ball to your playmakers in space. You allow them to make plays for you. Tre'Davian Dixon did a great job of getting to the end zone.
All right, and then Prairie View comes back to really take over in the second half thanks to Dewanye Tucker.
Well, they get the ball to him out of the backfield, allow him to make plays in space. He shows you his ability not only to catch the ball out of the backfield, but get positive yards and break tackles. Then you see him break more tackles. He has the vision to get to the outside and the burst to jump over the defender. And then finally, once you get into the second level, as no one is there, it's catch me if you can. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All the way to the end zone. No one there to bring him down. Dewanye Tucker has shown you all kinds of attributes that you look for in your backs.
Take a look at the numbers. Remember, Texas Southern was dominating at the end of the first quarter, especially in the passing yards, but Prairie View comes back in a big way in the second. Right now, 294 total yards to 246. Each team with a turnover. Time of possession almost the same, but again, as you talked about earlier, the momentum has swung to Prairie View there in the second quarter.
Well, Dewanye Tucker's been the difference maker for me, catching the ball out of the backfield, rushing the ball out of the backfield. He's been a dual threat for this Prairie View A&M ball club. They have to, I think, spy on him, keep someone on him at all times, because he's sneaking out of the backfield and he's finding open lanes. And when he does, Morton's doing a good job of getting him the football.
Tucker with 6 carries, 104 yards in the first half, 2 touchdowns, 1 on that 66-yarder. So that's where we stand. We'll get you ready to kick things off in the second half with Prairie View A&M up in the Labor Day Classic by 10 over Texas Southern. ESPN College Football presented by McDonald's. We are at BBVA Stadium in Houston, Texas for the continuation of the Labor Day Football Classic. Prairie View A&M scoring 17 in the second quarter. We take command right now, leading Texas Southern as we get set to start the third quarter. 23-13. Dewanye Tucker, the outstanding back of Prairie View, has been the difference so far. And Prairie View deferred. They'll receive the opening kick in the second half.
Well, it's been a tale of 2 quarters. If you look at the first quarter, DeAndre Johnson had 123 yards passing. Second quarter, he only had 37 yards passing. In the first quarter, Dewanye Tucker only had 19 yards rushing. But in the second quarter, he had 87 yards rushing. Now, I know he had the 66-yard run, but if you take that away, that's 3 carries for 21 yards. That's still a 7-yard average per run. So he's picked it up in the second half. Let's see what happens in this third quarter.
That kickoff went out of bounds before it went into the end zone. So that will punish the kicking team.
By rule, the ball will be placed at the 35-yard line, first down.
35-yard line it'll be placed at there. So you don't want that kicker kicking it out of bounds if you can help it. That's pretty good field position to really not have to do anything to gain such field position. And Prairie View had been hot, especially going into the halftime locker room on the offensive side of the football there in the second quarter.
Well, Texas Southern let it get away from them in the last 7 or 8 minutes of the second quarter. What they've got to do right now, they've got to get a defensive stop, because all of the momentum is over on the Prairie View sideline right now. You cannot allow Morton to get down the field with this passing game, because if you do, it's going to open up that defense.
Talking about Morton, he was a guy who passed for almost 2,400 yards last year with 18 touchdowns. Also ran for 874 yards. And that pass a little bit high for his intended target on the far side. And coming up a little bit lame that time was Christopher Johnson. So he's going to have to leave the field. 2nd and 10. And this is Tucker. Tucker met right at the line of scrimmage, pushes forward 4 yards. It'll be 3rd and 9.
And one of the deficiencies when you bring your linebackers up in those gaps and they blitz those gaps, when the back gets to the second level, which we've seen already from Tucker, there's no one there. And in the open field, Tucker is a very difficult individual to bring down.
3 for 8 for Prairie View on 3rd down. This pass complete to the near side and getting away from a tackle. And I believe getting first down yardage is the wide receiver, Kalen Riles. That second effort got it out across the 45 to the 46.
Too much time.
Yeah, move the chains. And Prairie View continues the drive after that 10-yard gain. A little delay. Big room off the left side. And getting through the hole is Caleb Broach. And Broach within a couple yards of more first down yardage that time before Patrick Howell brought him down. Picked up 8. 2nd and short. Prairie View on the march again. And that one a little behind his intended target, Xavier Johnson, on a quick little slant. He was open, but that ball thrown a little bit behind him.
That's the most difficult route to cover in man coverage, a crossing route. You're going to always have the DB in a trail.
Play call from the sideline. Christian Mosley will now take the delayed handoff, and he's brought down short. First down yardage. He picked up maybe a yard. One of the first to hit him was Ike Onswa. And it'll be 4th down, and it looks like Eric Dooley and company are going to go for it.
And Answar has been a headache all afternoon for this Prairie View offensive line.
They are 1 for 1 on 4th down. Big hole and 1st down yardage for Caleb Broach. And Broach leans forward and gets it down to about the 42. Pick up a 3 on that play, move the chains once again, and Prairie View keeps the drive going.
And you see several defensive linemen from Texas Southern tapping their helmets, asking for relief. Both defensive tackles have been replaced on this drive.
Hot and muggy, as is usually the case down here in Houston at this time of year. Little delay, and here's DeWanye Tucker, plenty of room. Tucker inside the 25 to the 23.
And a great job on the outside by number 75. You're going to see him at the right tackle, pull around. He gets around the edge. He doesn't have a knockout block, but because he's in the way, he allows Tucker to get around the edge.
And this time we have a flag down on the play thrown in the backfield in the area usually of holding Christian Mosley.
Offense, number 75, 10-yard penalty. Still
and
first down.
Holding against Eric Dunn that time.
And just as I give him props, he goes out and gets a holding penalty on the next play. That's one of the most difficult blocks for a tackle when you've got an outside pass rusher and you're trying to get to that edge to get his outside shoulder to allow the back to cut around you. If you can't get to that shoulder, what you're taught to do is take that power step with that inside foot and push him out to give a lane for the back to cut up in.
So 1st and 20. Quick wide receiver screen. He was looking for Jeffrey Rector on that play, and Rector just let that one go off his body, incomplete.
And that play was set up perfectly. You saw the tackle in the guard throw the defensive lineman up the field. Everyone bought into the play fake. There was a lot of running room for the receiver on that play, but you've got to squeeze that football.
10th play of the drive coming up, 2nd and 20 after the penalty. Going deep down the middle, wide open man inside the 15 to the 11-yard line as he found his target, Jared Scott. Or was it Mullins? It was Tony Mullins, rather. I thought I saw 18 there rather than 19, but Mullins has been active. He's one of the big receivers today, I'm sorry.
And he did a good job of finding a hole in that zone and sitting down, making himself big for his quarterback.
22 yards on that pickup, so the drive continues. And now on the keeper. Now the throw. Easy pass to Mullins. Touchdown. And Prairie View remains red hot here to start the second half. 11 yards on the touchdown. We do have a flag on the play all the way on the far side of the field. Obviously not having much to do with that result.
And Morton's staying on the field, so I think this is going to be against Prairie View.
Looks like the officiating crew is just discussing everything right now.
Personal foul, face mask, offense number 11. Penalty being enforced 15 yards from the 1-yard line. It'll be 1st down and 10. Prairie View.
All right, so Tristan Wallace grabbing a face mask away from the play.
And there's no reason for that, but that was a great play call. They went with the read option. Watch the quarterback, Morton, go with the read option. He keeps the football, steps up like he's going to run to make the defender come up to make the tackle, and he throws the ball. It's almost like a jump pass, the one that Tebow used to do at Florida.
Yes.
They went with the read option fake, so now you've got the linebackers paying attention, and then as he pulls the ball out and he goes to the edge, you've got the defensive back reacting, which leaves his receiver wide open.
So it takes a touchdown off the board and creates a 1st and 10 after the penalty. Ball spotted on the 16-yard line. The keeper Morton gets it down inside the 15 to the 12 before Ansua brought him down. It'll be 2nd and 6. Prairie View doesn't want to waste this opportunity, and we get some movement. That was Tony Mullins missing the snap count there.
Offense, number 10, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
So they'll go back another 5.
And that's some of that discipline that Coach Dooley talked about that he wanted his team to show in this ball game. You know the snap count. There's no reason for you as an offensive player to jump off sides. It doesn't matter what the defensive player is doing. As an offensive player, you know the snap count.
Tony Mullins, the guy moving early there. He is one of 3 receivers split to the near side, and now another whistle. We're going to make sure we got the spot correct after the penalty. Okay, now they get it out to the 13-yard line, just inside the 13. 12 penalties for Prairie View so far in this game. Only 1 for Texas Southern. Prairie View up by 10 and threatening for more. Throwing all the way in the end zone, and we get a flag down on the play as Kalen Riles was taken down. Contact might have been incidental, but he was still taken down. My question is, could he have even caught that ball? It seemed well overthrown from my angle.
Well, the thing that Markel Daigle did that gave it away, he put his hands up in the air to say, I didn't do it, I didn't do it. You just got to keep going through the play.
Pass interference. Defense, number 17. Spot foul. Penalty forced at the spot of foul. Automatic 1st down.
Yeah, it's number 26, but you see him right there grabbing and then put his hands up. But once again, you can't panic. You just got to make a play on the football.
And that one is very costly because it's a 1st down. And goal to go now for Prairie View, trying to extend their scoring streak. They scored 17 unanswered in the 2nd. And trying to start the 3rd with an impressive mark. And stacked up after a short gain. And that time is Caleb Broach. Ansua, the big defensive tackle, one of those in there to meet him and stack him up short.
And we've called Ansua's name very often. Now, he's playing some grown man football out there on the defensive line. Nobody's been able to contain him, block him, or maintain a block.
And the keeper now throwing across himself, but we have another flag down. It is incomplete as we get a drop. Tristan Wallace, but another flag down on the play.
And I think they're holding Ansua on that play. He's been disruptive throughout this evening. They cannot block him.
And I tell you, this is getting ugly down here. Both teams trading penalties back and forth.
Absolutely.
Holding. Offense, number 70. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. 2nd down.
Danny Garza, a preseason 2nd team all-conference selection.
And watch number 70. See right here, look at 92 right there. He's grabbing and holding. They can't block Ansua. He's doing a good job of playing with leverages. I want to look and see if he was a wrestler in high school because he plays with such a low center of gravity.
Blitz is on, and now the quick pass on the slant play, and another flag is down, if you can believe it. And the pass is incomplete as he was looking for Kalen Riles again, but we get another flag on the play.
Pass interference. Defense, number 20. Penalty enforced at the spot of the foul. Automatic 1st down.
6 penalties in the last 22 seconds. No, I'm kidding, but 6 penalties combined on this drive. It seems like the last 22 seconds we've had a penalty after penalty.
Well, it's like they're playing hot potato with the penalties. You know, no, you taking it, you get a penalty. No, you taking it, you get a penalty. You've got to have more discipline. We understand this is the first game of the season. There are going to be some jitters, but you've got to have more discipline.
You see the penalty totals. 13 against Prairie View for over 110 yards. Going end zone. Back shoulder, touchdown. Kalen Riles. No flags. 10 yards on that scoring pass.
And Riles took advantage of the true freshman, Ja'Cory Benjamin, number 20. He never turned around to locate the football. If he turns around to locate the football, he has a great opportunity to get that left hand in and knock it down.
Elder. And that one is through the left upright. And now, wait a minute, we have some extracurricular stuff going on out on the field right now, but no flags there as they separate everybody. One more look at the touchdown. Nice back shoulder catch by Kalen Riles. Prairie View blowing it open, up by 17.
Timeout.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Voya Financial, helping you to and through retirement. Learn more at Voya.com.
Beautiful downtown Houston, Texas. Labor Day Classic, Prairie View really pouring it on. He scored 24 unanswered points after trailing 13-6 after one. Now 30-13, the Panthers up after an impressive 14-play, 65-yard march to start the second half. And there's a illegal procedure, kick out of bounds. That'll come out to the 35-yard line. And Texas Southern, which needs to do something quickly to get a little bit of momentum back behind their quarterback, DeAndre Johnson, has good field position to begin with here on the 35-yard line.
The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down and 10.
There's DeAndre Johnson, 13-22 for 160 and a touchdown in the first half. And he's going to have to turn it on big time here in the second. Cook gets out close to the 40-yard line. Nice pickup on first down. Drake Cheatham brought him down. Now on the design quarterback keeper, showing that speed, getting across midfield, and finally pushed out of bounds at the 47-yard line is DeAndre Johnson.
And those are the type of plays I thought we would see more of from DeAndre Johnson because of his speed, his ability to get to the outside and break contain. I think that's where he's more effective running the football.
Pick up a 13 on that play. Johnson throwing down the middle, underthrown a little bit. Waiting for it was his intended receiver, but Logan Jackson was the one who had the better chance of catching it, and now he's a little shaken up on the play.
Timeout. Injury.
And you see Johnson pointing to his receiver to tell him to keep going. He stopped on the route. He needs to keep going, but Johnson, you've got to put the ball out if you want him to keep going. It was an underthrown football.
Timeout.
So might be another cramp situation. I'm not a medical person, but looks like that. We'll be right back.
Rookie.
Logan Jackson being escorted off the field. He's going to be taken into the tent, obviously still having some trouble cramping up a little bit after that near interception. So it's second down. DeAndre Johnson under pressure. Down he goes. And getting him on the sack was linebacker Story Jackson. One of the first times we called his name tonight.
Well, Prairie View showed the blitz, and I think that's something that DeAndre Johnson needs to be wary of. When you see the blitz, hold the snap count. Allow your linemen to get their pre-snap reads. The linemen have to do a better job at the point of attack, blocking and maintaining blocks. Dominic DeRiggi, number 73, got beat on that play.
Third down and very long. Now he's going to keep and just try to stay alive and get out of bounds before Story Jackson once again was coming up to lay a heavy hit on him, but he got out of bounds. So just when Texas Southern needed to put a drive together, they're going to be forced to punt here near midfield and give the ball back to what has been a red-hot Prairie View offense. Mike Russo standing back at his 34 to punt it. And Tony Mullins is standing back at his own 10, but we have whistle.
Timeout. Prairie View, first charge timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout. 30-second timeout.
Prairie View taking a timeout. And this is, of course, the Labor Day Classic. Plenty of great classic competition going on in HBCU football tomorrow. Jay Walker, Tiff Green out there for the MEAC SWAC Challenge. Magic City Classic, that's always a great win in Birmingham. Battle of the real HU, Bayou Classic, Florida Classic to end the season. Of course, Bethune-Cookman and FAMU, and plenty more classics. I mean, black college football is classics. It's classics all over the place. Classic barbecue being being made out amongst the tailgaters in the parking lot.
Classic Battle of the Bands.
Battle of the Bands, Battle of the Cheerleaders, Battle of the Alumni. It's just an awesome, awesome spectacle. If you've never taken part in it before, you truly should. Nick Russo hits the punt, coming to the near side and letting it bounce, where it'll be dead at the 12 or 13 yard line. Tony Mullins was the guy who allowed that. 41-yard punt with no return, and Prairie View gonna come back out on offense once again. 24 unanswered points, starting with DeWanye Tucker's dominance in the second quarter. Couple touchdowns for him, and then in the third, an impressive march. Eat up more than 5 minutes of the clock to begin the second half and put 7 points on the board after about at least that many penalties between both two clubs once the ball got inside the 20-yard line or so of Texas Southern. So here's Jalen Morton on first down, and a little delayed handoff. What a nice nifty leg move, and DeWanye Tucker is still on his feet on the far side. Actually turned nothing into something that time.
And to me, Tucker's more effective running in the middle of that offensive line. Because once again, as Texas Southern continues to walk those linebackers up in those gaps, at the snap of the football, they're coming downhill. So when Tucker gets to the second level, there's no one there.
Another delay this time, and that one doesn't get very far at all. And there's our guy again, Answa, making the big hit on Caleb Broach and stopping him for little or no gain. So that'll set up third down and 8. And of course, up by 17. Time the friend of Prairie View, and throwing it to an empty spot as his receiver turned inside. The throw went outside. Tristan Wallace, the intended target, and Prairie View going 3 and out this time. They'll be forced to punt and save a great kick.
Now,
coming up by Caleb Darbone.
Now, this is unacceptable defense by the defensive line. Watch the defensive line for Texas Southern. No pass rush whatsoever. They just stand up. That is unacceptable when you're down by this many points. You're down by 17 points. You've got to give it everything you've got. I understand you're tired. I understand it's hot. I understand you may be dehydrated, but you've got to get some semblance of a pass rush.
Thurman Mobley was the guy back deep to receive that punt, but it was a bit short. It'll be marked dead at the 40-yard line, only a 26-yard punt. And if Texas Southern ever had an opportunity to get right back in this one, this is it. Great field position at the opposition 40.
And even if they can't get a score, they need to hold the ball to allow the defensive players to get some rest. You saw in that last play, they didn't have anything left in the tank from the defensive tackle position. Both of those guys just basically stood up. So you've got to give your defensive line some time to rest and catch their breaths.
Quick swing in that one, an errant throw. DeAndre Johnson was looking for his intended target, Thurman Mobley.
And as we progress, you're starting to see a little bit of finger pointing by some of the Texas Southern ball players when they're not making the plays that they think they should be making. For DeAndre Johnson, this is when you have to step up and be that leader that the coaching staff talked about he was.
Quick wide receiver screen on the far side, and his target, Trendavian Dixon, steps out of bounds after picking up 5. Was forced out that time by Story Jackson. On the far side, might be 2 down territory here for Texas Southern, trying to get back in the game. 3rd and 5. Another wide receiver screen and big yardage on the catch and run, but stepping out of bounds before he cut it back inside was Trendavian Dixon. And Dixon gets it down inside the 25 to the 23-yard line, a pickup of 12, and they move the chains.
And excellent blocking on the perimeter by the other receivers.
Here's a handoff up the middle that time. Ladarius Owens, and Owens stacked up when he gets to the 20 after a pickup of 2.
This is the type of drive that Texas Southern needs to have. You need to eat up some time to allow the defense to rest you. You've got to get a touchdown. You've got another quarter to play. So there's more than enough time. You don't need to be in a rush. You don't need to try and get everything on one plate. Just continue to move the ball down the field.
Design quarterback draw, and that one went nowhere. As coming in on the blitz, Trishad Smith. Isaiah Washington was also in the backfield, and that's a loss. And that'll set up 3rd down.
And the right tackle, Nate Hines, has to do a better job of punching at the point of attack.
3rd down and 12 now for Texas Southern. Ball inside the 25-yard line. Owens still on his feet, got it down to the 16. They'll spot him at the 17. And it'll be 4th down. Interesting to see. Yep, it looks like the offense will stay right out there, and they're going to go for it.
And I think differently. I think you kick the field goal. You're only down 2 touchdowns if you do that. You've got to get a field goal at some point in time.
4th and 4. Quick wide receiver screen, and diving for 1st down yardage is Trendavian Dixon.
And that's why I'm up here calling the game as opposed to coaching the game.
Well, that's been open for them really all game. They have hit several of those because of the cushion being given the receivers by the Prairie View defensive backs. A sweep action on the near side that time by Ladarius Owens goes nowhere.
Well, when you've got a defense that's coming up the field like Prairie View, you can't go east and west. You have to be north and south with your rushing attack.
It's the 9th play of the drive, and we have penalty flag on the play.
Looks like it's 12 players for Prairie View.
Illegal substitution. Defense. 12 men on the field. Penalties half the distance to the goal. 2nd down.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's called fatigue. I know it's the 3rd quarter, they've had halftime, but if you're not out here, you don't understand the humidity that these young men are dealing with out on this football field.
Kenton Jones was a guy who didn't get off in time. And here's up the middle, the big freshman Ja'Cory Howard. They call him Thunder. And he thunders up the middle for a couple, inside the 5 down to about the 3. So it'll be 3rd down and goal to go. On the keeper and losing his footing that time was DeAndre Johnson. I think he would have walked into the end zone, but he lost his footing and he may have injured himself on the play. That would be an awful set of circumstances there. Looked like he had an easy touchdown if he'd have kept his balance, but now they're checking him out on the field. We'll be back. DeAndre Johnson walked off the field under his own power, stretching out a few cramps. A lot of people stretching all over the sidelines. 21-yard field goal effort this time by Richard Garcia III. And that one is good inside the right upright. So the scoring streak ended by Texas Southern with that field goal. One more look at it.
And you see, it's almost like his legs just gave out on him. And that's what happens when your body locks up. There's so much humidity out on this field. These guys are exerting so much energy. They've got to keep fluids in their body. And one thing that people have to understand, you have to start getting those fluids in your body 2 to 3 days prior. You can't come out here on the field and say, okay, throughout the whole game, I'm going to drink water to get my body the fluid that it needs. You have to start that process early. And you're seeing the effects on all of these young men. They've been practicing in this heat, in this humidity, but it's very different when you're playing in the ball game. And also, you've got to remember, this stadium is closed, so there's not a lot of wind getting to these guys down on the field.
Richard Garcia III about to kick it deep to Dewanye Tucker. Had an outstanding evening running and catching the football for the Prairie View offense. 10-play, 37-yard drive for Texas Southern on that one. Short kickoff. Fielded at the 8. Big hole on the far side. Well, it's the only game of the night. Monday we'll have Brian Kelly and number 9 Notre Dame taking on Louisville. And Scott Satterfield's debut for U of L. He was the head coach at Appalachian State the last 6 seasons. It's 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific from Cardinal Stadium on ESPN and the ESPN app. Bernard Goodwater III on that return.
And once again, they allow the kicker to make the play. You can't let the kicker make the play if you're the back running the football.
And here's Dewanye Tucker dancing around. And maybe picked up 2 as he got it across midfield down to the 49-yard line. Patrick Howell brought him down. Making the 48-yard line, give him 3. So, you know, you played in your share of games where your team was up by a little. Isn't it a natural inclination for a team to kind of let up a little bit and breathe a little bit? How do you keep your focus and keep playing hard even though you're up?
One of the things for us was we had certain goals to reach that would limit the amount of running we had to do on Monday's practice.
Speaking of the amount of running, wide open running, Tony Mullins, 52 yards later, it's a touchdown, and Prairie View can breathe a little easier again with 1:48 to go here in the third.
And once again, when you bring those linebackers up, there's nobody at the second level. There was nobody there. He was uncovered in the slot. You've got to make sure you've got your coverage in place. Watch him at the top of the screen right here. Nobody goes with him. You see the safety react late, trying to get over there, Jacob Anderson, but by the time he gets there, the ball is already delivered and he's down the field.
So correct that, a 48-yard touchdown pass. And the extra point is good by Zach Elder and make it now 37-16 in favor of Prairie View A&M.
You see right here, he just lays the ball over the top. Anderson is trying to get over there, but he just couldn't. You've got to make sure you've got everyone covered. He's down the middle of the field. All Morton had to do was just lay it over.
Won't get much easier than that if you're a wide receiver. Just get it to me.
And one of the questions you asked me before that touchdown is how you keep the gas on. Well, for us, there were certain parameters if we reached. We would take gases off that we had to run on Monday night practice. 50 points was one. 500 total yards was one. 200 yards rushing was one. 300 yards passing was one. So for us as an offense, we tried to hit all of those parameters. And in doing so, we kept our feet on the gas. So that's what you have to do. You have to find something to keep your guys motivated.
Zach Elder teeing it up to kick it deep to Tyler Cook. Short kick, and Cook fields it at his 13. Cook, a nice return out across the 30 to the 32-yard line.
And now, once again, this is the area right here. This has been the problem area all evening for Texas Southern. They walk these linebackers up in these gaps. Nobody is here. Now, you're going to see Anderson try and get back across the field. He's shading over to this way, but he tries to get back across to knock the ball down as the receiver comes right down here. And nobody goes with him. He tries to get over, but it's too late at that point, and the receiver's off and running.
Two-play, 51-yard drive, taking 49 total seconds for Prairie View to add to its lead. And there's a long pass through the hands of the defender. Almost intercepted and almost into the hands of the intended receiver, Trendavian Dixon.
And DeMarcus Robinson got up in the passing lane and affected Dixon's vision of the football.
On second down now is defending that was, as you spoke of, DeMarcus Robinson. Had that one go through his hands. Second down, had to double clutch that one, did DeAndre Johnson. But he found his receiver on the far side, Trendavian Dixon once again.
And I look for the double move at some point by Trendavian Dixon, because Robinson is playing that first move.
A delay, and going to be stopped short of the first down at the 40-yard line. Pickup of 2 that time for Ladarius Owens, and another, I don't know, maybe questionable call on third down in that kind of situation. And now they're going to go for it. 4-down territory, inside a minute to go here.
Well, as long as they're giving you the cushion on the outside, you take it.
And there's Dixon this time. Big hole, gets to the outside. I'm sorry, Ladarius Owens gets to the big hole on the outside. I think I said Dixon. He picked up 20 on that play.
You can see him bounce it to the outside, and good job keeping the defensive end inside, allowing him to get to the edge and get up the field.
Big 4th down conversion that time. Going deep for it all. Man open. Got his tight end. Long. Charge. Touchdown. 40 yards. And Texas Southern has some life.
And if you watch this play, DeAndre Johnson knew where he was going with the football as soon as it was snapped. He didn't go through any reads. That's the sign of a quarterback understanding offensive concepts and understanding the defense that he sees in his pre-snap read.
Richard Garcia III, and got that one inside the upright. So 37-23. Back to a 14-point deficit. And Texas Southern not going away yet.
And once again, a good job by DeAndre Johnson just laying the ball over where his receiver, Long, could make a play on it. All he had to do was squeeze the football. Once he got possession of the football, it was an easy score. But that was DeAndre Johnson recognizing what defense he was facing, knowing that his tight end was going to be open.
That was a 5-play, 68-yard drive. Took a minute 26. And it was big for Texas Southern.
One of the biggest deals about being a successful quarterback is recognition, knowing what defenses you're facing, knowing where the safeties are going to go, knowing what the cornerbacks are going to do, knowing how they're going to react. That's when you get big plays. And that was a good job by Johnson on that play, and a good job by Long to get down the field. And he did a good job of squeezing the football. Too often you see guys when they're wide open like that get really excited and don't make the catch because they're thinking about the touchdown and the celebration they're going to give once they get into the end zone.
Well, he did what you suggested earlier and squeezed that one for sure.
Absolutely.
And took that one home for the 40-yard touchdown. Big play for Texas Southern that time. Richard Garcia III, the freshman kicker, going to kick it deep to Dewanye Tucker, who was standing at his 5. High, shorter kick, a fair catch it at the 27-yard line. So 15 seconds to go here in the third quarter. 2-score game. The fair catch was Jalon Wooten, who made that one, and since it's out beyond the 25-yard line, that's where it will stay.
Now I want to watch my big fella, Answat, number 92. He let me down a little bit on that last drive. I know he was a little bit tired, a little bit gassed, but you got to come back out here and make a play. Now your offense is giving you some time. They put some points on the board. Make a play. Be disruptive.
On the keeper, and Morton going deep, overshoots his man on the far side as he was looking for Tony Mullins. Once again, Mullins has been one of his favorite targets tonight, and he was under a little bit of heat.
Well, they got pressure right in the middle of that offensive line. You can't get pushed back if you are the guards or the center. You've got to be stout at the point of attack. That's why you get smaller, shorter, stout, more stout guys at that position.
A little movement on the left side of that offensive line.
Ball start, offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Colby Lewis, the left guard, moved that time. That'll cost him 5. And one thing Coach Dooley will say after this one, way too many penalties for his squad. So it'll now be 2nd and 15 after the penalty as they move that one back 5. Here's Morton throwing deep down the middle, has his man. And a nice catch, leaping to make that catch, Kalen Riles. And Riles gets it out across the 40-yard line for first down yardage. 19 on the play. And that'll do it for the third quarter. 15 minutes left in regulation. Prairie View up by 14. And Texas Southern makes a big play here. Chris Long, the catch and run, 40 yards to get the Tigers back into it. We'll be back with the fourth in a minute.
Rookie.
ESPN College Football is presented by McDonald's and in part by Do the Do.
Back in Houston, Texas, about to start the fourth quarter play. Prairie View up by 14 over Texas Southern. Prairie View 454 total yards of offense, 353 for the Tigers of Texas Southern. And there he goes again. Dewanye Tucker. Will anybody catch him? No, sir. 58 yards and the score.
And once again, what Prairie View is doing, they're putting someone in motion and then bringing them back across the formation. What that allows them to see is the type of defense that they're facing. And they know what to do with the football once they see that. You've got the tackle and the guard pulling around the edge. And once Tucker gets to the open field, nobody's been able to catch him all afternoon. So why think anything different right now?
Elder pulled it, got it off the left upright, but it ricochets in, and it'll count. The extra point is good, and make it now 44-23 in favor of Prairie View. What a way to strike to start the fourth quarter with lightning by the name of Dewanye Tucker.
Well, what they did was they pulled the center and they pulled the tackle. The guard blocked down, so that's a good job by the offensive line. The guard blocked down on the 3 technique. And then the center came around, and he's able to clean up anything that got behind the tackle that pulled around to get the edge and give the edge to Tucker.
Only 11 carries, 188 yards, a 58-yarder for a score, 66-yarder for a score in this game. Dewanye has been on fire tonight, starting especially in the second quarter. Eric Dooley loving it. Nothing to indicate that his offense would be slowed down at all so far this season, with over 500 yards now total.
Well, that was a huge play, because if they're able to get a stop, if Texas Southern is able to put another score on the board, they only be down 1 touchdown at that point. So that was a big time play for them.
298 all-purpose yards for Dewanye Tucker. Zach Elder is going to kick it deep. And Tyler Cook is standing back at his 3. Cook will field it at his 7. Bobbled it. And picks it back up and gets it out across the 15 to the 16.
And one of the things coming into this ball game, Coach McKinney talked to us about, was they wanted to always identify where number 1 was. But they haven't done a good job of stopping him. You can identify him all you want, but if you don't put a hat on him, it means nothing. And so far, he has been just outstanding, whether it be returning kicks, catching the ball out of the backfield, or just running the football. He's breaking tackles. He's making good decisions. He's showing all the little intangibles that you want to see from a running back. Vision, the ability to break tackles, the ability to spin out of would-be tacklers, and the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's what you call a true multi-purpose back.
Johnson stepping up in the pocket. Might have to keep it. And spins out of a couple tackles and gets it all the way up to about the 20-yard line. Showing some nice athletic ability to get away from a sure sack that time and pick up actually 4 yards as he decided to keep it.
And Prairie View is going to continue to bring the house, bring the blitz, come downhill, because they know that Texas Southern has to pass the football to try to get back into this ball game. So what Texas Southern has to do with their play calling, they have to be very selective. You have to run some misdirection, use the speed and the aggression that the Prairie View defense is showing against them.
3rd and 3. Play fake now going down the seam that time, and his intended receiver, now a late flag comes in. His intended receiver Thurman Mobley held up a little bit by a defensive back there, and I think it'll be a pass interference.
And there's number 33, Tariq Mulmore, and it always amuses me when a guy blatantly grabs another guy and then throws his hands up in the air like, I didn't do anything, I didn't do anything. But you almost pulled his jersey off.
Holding. Defense number 33. Penalty be forced 10 yards from the previous spot. First down.
So another penalty against Prairie View. And Tariq Wilmore, the culprit that time. So the chains keep moving for Texas Southern, which needs plenty points in a hurry. Blitz is on, in trouble, and down goes DeAndre Johnson.
Now, the thing about that, they brought the blitz, but it's still 5 pass rushers, and you've got 5 offensive linemen. The offensive linemen have got to decipher who their assignment is.
Did he go down is the question. He didn't think he had. That's an 8-yard sack.
Well, the right elbow, the right forearm hit the ground. I think that's why they called it down.
Trishad Smith cleaning up after that one. Little wide receiver screen that time. Almost a fumbled football that time by Keelan Davis. And he was brought down by that man, Trishad Smith, again.
And I think what people have to understand is, yes, you bring the blitz, but if it's only 5 people rushing when you've got 3 down linemen and you bring 2 linebackers, you've got 5 offensive tackles. And you far outweigh those defensive players that are rushing, especially from the linebacker position. They may have a little more athleticism, but you've got to put a body on it.
Flush him out the pocket, and the pass underneath is out across the 30 up to the 34. And so Ladarius Owens on the receiving end of that one, and now it'll be 4th down. And I think at this field position, you almost have to punt it away. As we see the punter, freshman Nick Russo, number 81, out there. And he'll be kicking it deep to Tony Mullins once again, who's standing back at his 20. It bounces down, but it bounces out of bounds. And the staff of Prairie View trying to spot the ball for the officials. We'll come back with more of the 4th in a moment.
Rookie.
Tonight's Bringing the Flavor, brought to you by McDonald's. That's plenty of flavor. I tell you what, those those drum majors, the way they bend and everything, I could never. I just don't bend like that. But I tell you what, lots of fun out here at these classics and venues and HBCU football. And it's been a lot of fun watching both these offenses, but especially Prairie Views of late, going up and down the field.
Well, I can bend like the drum majors. I just don't know if I can get back up. That's the problem for me.
So inside 11.5 to go, and when you're an offense that runs things like Eric Dooley's offense at Prairie View, kind of tough to come off the gas a little bit. But the clock is your friend, as his intended receiver Tristan Wallace there couldn't quite locate that one.
And to me, that's a wasted down. I think you run the football, you run the clock. You've got a 21-point lead. There's no pressure on you right now. The last thing you need to do is have a turnover or put your guys in a position to get hurt. When you've got your quarterback back there, you're playing against a mad, angry, tired Texas Southern ball club. So any shots they get to take on Jalen Morton, they're going to take those shots. I think you got to hand the football off, play smart at this point.
There's a little screen and a nice result. This is Tristan Wallace. And Tristan Wallace dives in, touchdown. But a flag on the play.
I think you're going to get a block in the back right where the catch was made.
Holding, offense, number 71. Penalty enforced 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Replay, third down.
Colby Lewis, the left guard, the culprit. That time wiping out a nice catch and run touchdown play.
And it's almost like a handoff because it's such a short pass. And all Colby Lewis has to do is just get a body on him. You don't have to grab. If your hands are outside the breastplate, they're going to make that call every time. If his hands were inside the breastplate, he could have gotten away with that. But his hands are outside the breastplate, up on the top of the shoulder pad. The defense is going to get that call every time.
Wipes out a would-be 69-yard touchdown catch and run by Tristan Wallace. Wallace was excellent last year in this offense. First team preseason all SWAC at the wide receiver spot. He had 38 catches, 629 yards, and 4 TDs in this offense last year.
And for Lewis, you've got to deal with Wallace being upset with you, the offense being upset with you. Morton, you know, he had some better numbers with his passing game. But the big thing you've got to be upset with is all those extra gasses you're going to have to run at the next practice because you took away a touchdown.
Just a well-conceived play that time and wiped out by the obvious holding penalty, as you pointed out. And another big penalty against Prairie View hasn't killed them so far in the game, however. On the rollout, and we're going to throw on the near side. Tony Mullins makes the catch across the 40 and is pushed out at the 43. And with that play, they pick up 11 and they move the chains. So it seems kind of nonchalant, but they were able to get enough yardage to keep the clock going and keep possession of the football, and that's what they want to do at this point.
And let's see if they get a little bit more conservative with the play calling, running the football to try and run some clock, or do they continue to try and go down the field?
Bernard Goodwater is in the backfield, and he takes the handoff. He goes up the middle where he's met almost immediately. Maybe picked up a half yard.
And if I'm the coaching staff for Prairie View A&M, I'm telling my quarterback Morton on those read options, I don't care what you read, you give the ball to the back. I don't want you running the ball unnecessarily and taking hits you don't have to with a 21-point lead.
Second down, quick wide receiver screen is dropped. Tristan Wallace might be a little gassed from that long run before us, and he just dropped that one.
Nah, that's called footsteps. Footsteps and alligator arms. You heard those footsteps and those arms got short like an alligator.
On third down. Deep Carson pass has his man open. That time he holds on to it. Does Tristan Wallace and move the chains once again. Joshua Murray coming over to make the tackle, but too little too late. First down as the ball is inside the 45 to the 44-yard line after the pickup of 13.
Well, there's a 10-yard cushion. Josh Murray has to come up and challenge Wallace. You can't give a 10-yard cushion, or it's going to be pitch and catch all afternoon.
Before he finally goes down at the 10-yard line is Tony Mullins. A bullet from Jalen Morton over the middle that time to a wide open receiver, picks up another 34.
But you had a defender coming up. I don't know how he had a no-hitter on that play. You've got to make a play on the football.
And the handoff going off of left tackle and still trying to drive ahead for yardage is Caleb Roach. Roach gets it down inside the 10 to the 7. And it'll be second and goal from there. Now there's a rhythm thing in the offense, but I'd be letting that play clock run down to about 2
Absolutely.
before I'd snap it. And the pass back shoulder. And we got all kinds of flags down in the far corner of the end zone there. A lot of contact before that pass made it to its intended target, Tristan Wallace.
It almost looks like it may be offsetting. It looks like you've got pass interference on the outside, but holding.
Okay.
On the inside. Or is it maybe taunting?
We have 2 fouls on the play, 1 by each team. Holding. Offense number 70. Defensive pass interference number 6. Those penalties offset. Replay second down.
Okay.
And holding on the inside by the center, number 70. You see him grab on the outside of the shoulder pads once
Defensive
again.
pass interference number 22.
And turn the pads. You've got to get inside hands. You've got to get your hands on the breastplate. You cannot have your hands on the shoulder part of the shoulder pads.
Danny Garza on the holding, and they go again. And a lob pattern over there in the corner of the end zone, looking once again for Tristan Wallace.
Well, Wallace has a 3-inch height advantage on Josh Murray, and Josh Murray is not turning around to locate the football. One of the things I think Morton has to work on that fade route is putting a little bit more air under the football to allow your receiver to be able to go up and make a play and try and high point the football.
So it'll be third down and goal. As Morton gets the play call from the sideline. Now they're telling him to hurry up inside 5 on the play clock. They get it off in time. And going across the middle a little bit low for his intended target, and again he looked for Tristan Wallace. Now they're going to settle for a field goal attempt here. Zach Elder going to come onto the field and attempt this one from 24. Off the left hash. And that one blocked. Still loose. Finally dead at the 23-yard line. But they got all kinds of penetration off the right side of the defensive line to block that one. We'll come back. 44-23.
Rule of the field, we have a block. Block kick. Timeout.
Texas Southern gets it back at their own 33-yard line, trailing by 3 touchdowns with 7:29 to go. They'll be putting it up in the air a lot, and the quick pass over the middle is incomplete as he was looking for Thurman Mobley. And so it'll be 2nd and 10. Blitz, and now busting through that first wave of defense on the run this time is Ladarius Owens, and Owens picks up good yardage off the left side. He'll be close to the first down, leave it 3rd and very short, 3rd and 1. Once again blasting through the hole is Ladarius Owens. They'll move the chains out across the 40.
And a good job by the interior part of that offensive line.
And Owens once again, even though they're running no huddle or hurry up, and there's a flag down on the play.
They didn't get off the field again. They've got those guys running off the field.
Illegal substitution, defense, 12 men on the field, 5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
What the defense has to recognize with this fast-paced offense, unless Texas Southern substitutes, you have to keep those guys on the field. When Texas Southern substitutes, the officials will hold the snap and allow you to get substitutions on the field as well.
Heavy pressure this time, and Johnson just throws it near side out of bounds. Trendavian Dixon was the intended target that time. Johnson running out of room on the far side is tackled for a loss. Jalen Harris was the one who brought him down in the backfield.
So all the yards they got on that penalty, they just lost.
Right. They lose 4 on that one. Third and 9. Delay, plenty of room up the middle, and inside the 45, bouncing down to the 43-yard line was Ja'Cory Howard. They'll move the chains once again and hurry it up. This is Ja'Cory Howard inside the 40. Somebody lost a helmet down there. Might have been, looked like it was Howard. And one they call Thunder. 6 feet, 200-pound freshman out of Houston. Andre Johnson, hitter on the near side, and a nice open field tackle that time by Craig Rhodes, who brought down Thurman Mobley. Nice open field job that time. Loss of 2 on that play.
And right now the coaching staff for Texas Southern is they're going to look at the film. They're going to watch their guys, and they're going to see who continues to play. It doesn't look like they're going to win this ball game, but this is what sets the table for the rest of the season. They're going to find out who their players are right now, who continue to play until the last whistle blows.
4 receivers out top of your screen right. Empty backfield and the quarterback draw. DeAndre Johnson, and Johnson gets inside the 40 to the 38. DeMarcus Robinson brought him down. So this is a 4th down play. 4th and 5. And the empty backfield. Quick on the near side and the missed tackle. And Dixon, Tredavian Dixon gets down inside the 15. And we might have another player cramping up down there. It looks like Story Jackson is holding the lower leg as he might be cramping up a little bit. 26 yards on that catch and run. Doctor's checking him out, trying to get rid of that cramp. We'll come back.
Rookie.
DeAndre Johnson leading his Texas Southern offense. First down and 10 at the 11 of Prairie View. Throwing corner end zone, and it is an interception. He got his feet in there. What a play. That time by Jalen Harris. That might have counted in the big league in the NFL. I think he got both feet down.
He got both feet down. But you watch Harris, he's looking back, he's watching the quarterback, he just steps right in front of the pass.
Down in the end zone.
That's what you do as a defensive back.
You
don't have a lot of field behind you. You don't have to worry about the receiver trying to go deep, so you can play that a little bit coy and watch the quarterback's eyes. And he did a good job of watching the quarterback's eyes, and as soon as he threw the football, he stepped in front of the receiver.
Second interception on the day. A turnover committed by Texas Southern and Clarence McKinney. If he had any hope of a possible comeback, might have been dashed with that big interception in the end zone. Trezon Conley, number 14, the 6'2", 185-pound redshirt freshman out of Dallas, in at quarterback.
Delay game, offense.
You get a delay of game call.
Penalty, still first down.
So he comes into more penalties.
And if there's something for Coach Dooley and his staff to be a little bit disappointed about, it's the lack of discipline by this ball club. A lot of offsides penalties, delay of game. They've got to get that fixed if they want to compete and challenge for a SWAC championship.
Here's a quarterback keeper design play, and Conley has plenty of room off the left side. Gets it out across the 40 to the 44. Nice pickup on the keeper, 29 yards in his first play from scrimmage in 2019.
And you see Prairie View is taking their time. They want to let as much clock run down as possible. They probably know exactly what play they're going to run, but they're going to wait.
Another keeper on the near side this time. Trezon Conley picks up more. Last season, they ranked second in the conference. 71 penalty yards a game, 132 so far tonight. 18 yards on that quarterback keeper by Trezon Conley.
But those 18 penalties is what stands out, and that's something that Coach Dooley and his staff will have to address with this ball club.
Down to inside of 5 before they run this play. It's, of course, time on their side. And this is Micah Minter, Prairie View. I'm sorry, not Micah Minter, but we'll get to that in a minute. Prairie View A&M schedule coming up at Houston. Justin Jones was the guy on that carry. That's a big one next Saturday on ESPN. Nicholls State on the 14th. Then the big ones, Alcorn, Grambling, and Southern, back to back to back, and those are the nemesis for the Panthers.
That's a 3-game gauntlet. If they can get through that 2-1, that's great.
Right. The 3-game gauntlet against those perennial powerhouses in the SWAC. Here's a design keeper. Conley. What's it all about for Prairie View? We've talked about it. You got to beat the big dogs. 4-11 last 5 seasons against Alcorn, Grambling, and Southern. Of course, Alcorn and Southern favored to win their respective divisions once again, with Eric Dooley's Prairie View A&M Panthers having enough offense to get things done, but can they put the entire package together and finally knock off a couple of those elites? And that storyline will play its way out in the year as we are inside of a minute to go in this one. And Prairie View about to start off 1-0. Texas Southern started with a bang, showed signs of life. They do have an outstanding quarterback in their midst for Coach Clarence McKinney. And look at their schedule coming up. A lot of it on the road. Tough games on the road as well. And they will play a homecoming game in their home stadium for the first time since the early 2000s on October 12th. Southern coming up on the 19th, Mississippi Valley, and then ending this regular season at Grambling State on the 2nd. Disappointing to say the least for Coach McKinney, especially the way the offense started out, but I think he has a lot that he can look forward to in this 2019 campaign, especially with his new quarterback, DeAndre Johnson. That is the final play of the contest. It is all over. And Prairie View A&M brings up 44. And they win it 44-23 over Texas Southern. So McKinney loses in his home debut. Eric Dooley, a winner in his debut in his 2nd season at the helm of Prairie View A&M. And I tell you, the offensive story was that of DeWanye Tucker, who had a lot of big runs in this game, a couple touchdowns, and a lot of big plays for Prairie View A&M. For Forrest Conley, Eric Clemens, for all of us here in the ESPN crew here in Houston, so long.